We're proud to bring you this live presentation on Racer TV of the 50th anniversary of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. 50 years of world premier off-road racing. 50 years of battling the gnarliest woods racing on the planet. It's time to start a new chapter. The next 50 years starts now.
Snowshoe GNCC, 50 years of racing GNCC, and it all started 50 years ago in Davis, West Virginia with the Blackwater 100, and we pay tribute to that year this weekend at the Snowshoe GNCC. Already a historical season, and we've got one in store for you that just might be historical as well. Walker Fowler, 5 career wins on the mountain. Bryson Neal, 2 career wins. Can he make it 3 here today? And oh yeah, the Gator, Adam McGill. He calls it McGill Mountain. Whose mountain will it be after this weekend? All of that and more starts right here, right now on RacerTV.com.
Are you ready to go? GNCC Racing!
Snowshoe GNCC round number 9 has arrived, and boy, 50 years of racing GNCC. It is a special season, a historical season. And Johnny, it all started with the Blackwater 100 in Davis, West Virginia, 50 years ago. And the Snowshoe GNCC is where we have been paying tribute to that Blackwater 100 and the start of GNCC.
Yeah, paying tribute to the race that started the entirety of GNCC so many years ago, 50 years ago, in fact. Here, just a stone's throw away from the top of Snowshoe Mountain in Davis, West Virginia. Here this weekend, there's a lot of Blackwater vibes.
Yes.
And the fans come up out of the woods from Howard's Hole looking like Swamp Thing. We start on the pavement. It's just an old school, tough GNCC, a lot of rocks, a lot of hill climbs. And it's a tough track, but it's going to lead to a lot of good racing here today.
Well, we'll get to that in just a moment, but first we want to recap a few weeks ago. We had Hunter Hart pulling off a win. Wyatt Wilkin was in control. He chose maybe a safe line, or so he thought, did not pay off for him. Actually ended up a heartbreaker, finishing just off the box. Hunter Hart comes through in the finish, doesn't even realize, holy smokes, I won this thing.
Yeah, it was chaos on that last lap of racing, and honestly, it was great battles and wheel-to-wheel racing throughout the race. We had Hunter Hart up there. We had Jay Shadron leading so much of the race, ultimately finishing in that number 2 spot. We had Bryson Neal in the mix. We had Wyatt Wilkin in the mix. Josh Merritt was up in there. There were so many guys just wheel-to-wheel. It was a crazy battle all day long. And on the last lap, just about 3 miles to go, we saw that split. Hunter Hart actually taking the safe line. Wyatt Wilkin taking the faster line. Hunter thinking Wyatt passed him and got away. Wyatt ended up getting stuck, losing time. Hunter Hart, Jay Shadron, Bryson Neal, and many others making it through the safe line, getting out there. The craziness at the finish line to me was Hunter coming across, not even knowing if he won. His girlfriend Liv basically telling him he won, and then the celebration started. But, you know, it just builds the hype that much more coming into today.
It absolutely does. And a shout out to Bryson Neal. You know, he was Team No Sleep. He had just welcomed a new baby girl into the world, comes out and on an off day, air quotes, ends up on the podium. So great ride for him, doing what he needs to do to continue his terror on this season as far as the points go. But all eyes were on Hunter Hart. We actually had a chance to catch up with Hunter prior to today's race.
Same. Feel the same way I felt a couple of the rounds this year, and I'm excited. I'm excited to be here. It's one of those things we like the track, and it's good. It's good to be here. It's exciting. I like the vibe. You know, it's definitely a little bit the party scene for sure, which. Not always my cup of tea, but we like to race, and that's what we're here to do.
All right, so good to hear from Hunter Hart. Hunter's had success here in the past as well. I think look for some big things out of him, but Johnny, in the world that is social media right now, the last couple of weeks leading into this one, it's been hard to ignore the fun and sometimes pointed banter between Walker Fowler, who has 5 wins on the mountain, and Adam McGill, the Gator, who has 4 wins on the mountain, but he's also got those McGill-billies behind him.
Yeah, I think there's really 2 camps of thinking in terms of whose mountain this is. And honestly, we could maybe even flip that script a little more when we go to tomorrow. We talk about that. But here today for ATVs, who owns this mountain? McGill's got signs up. He's got the McGill-billies. He definitely has the fan support here. But the bottom line is, when you talk about King of the Mountain, who's won up here most? Walker Fowler with 5 wins. And those 2 good friends off the track, and they've been bannering back and forth on social media. There's been a lot of AI-generated, graphics, Gator bait, selling Gator bites. Walker Fowler saying, Adam coming back and saying, this is my house and my mountain. So I think there's going to be a little bit of extra hype, not only between those 2, but the fans. They're just hyped up about this rivalry between the 2, and then enter from stage right, Bryson Neal. 2 wins coming into this weekend, looking for himself to maybe get a 3rd and continue to just march his way through this 2025 season. And I think, you've got, if he's able to get his 3rd today, now it's a 3-way discussion next year in 2026 for whose mountain this is. And Bryson himself actually made a few comments on social media saying, hey, you guys keep this going back and forth, but you're going to be fighting for 2nd. And it's all well-meaning, but it does add a little bit of drama.
It absolutely does. And then, on top of that, you've got the starts where, there's, 10 seconds in between each row. It's according to how they came into today with points. So it's almost impossible to keep track as you look at the scoring and timing of who the heck is where. So this is an opportunity, I think, for just about anybody. Jared McClure's been great here. Jay Shad has been great here in the past, and he's coming off a sensational ride. So it's anybody's race.
Absolutely. And folks, do keep in mind, as you tune in with us over the next couple hours, there's going to be a lot of chaos in terms of timing because, as Mikey pointed out, 5 or 10 seconds between rows. It's very tight, and they will clock each row. So we're going to have all these individual time adjustments. So you're going to see battles of riders coming through wheel to wheel, and the guy that's in 4th might be in 1st, and the guy that's in 1st might be in 6th. And so we're going to have to just really keep you updated, and we won't be able to call the winner of this one likely unless we get a breakaway until the after the checkered flag. But it's going to be exciting racing. And you know what, folks? We are going to bring you every minute of this, all of the chaos, everything from Howard's Hole, everything you've been looking forward to here from Snowshoe GNCC. All the action live on Racer TV right after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
It's bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
The strike. Adam, I'd noticed a sign, and there's a bit of a rift going on between you and some of your colleagues there. You call this McGill Mountain.
I absolutely do. It just sounds nice. I mean, just McGill Mountain, baby. Double M's. That's what we like.
All right. So, did you steal that sign?
No.
Where are those guys in green? We probably need them to step out here, the guys in green. You know, the West Virginia State Police.
Oh yeah. Guys, I did not take that from West Virginia on a road in the backwoods at all. No, it's, Tim, I can't tell you. Every year we come here, there is no place like Snowshoe. And these guys make it a blast. And like you said with the bike, this race isn't about me. It isn't about who wins or loses. It's about you guys. And that's why we did this with the bike. And I hope that everybody here really enjoyed that, coming down and being a part of this. Win or lose, on the box or in the box. That's what we're doing today.
There you go. Okay, I'll give you your hat back. You give me my hat back. We're going to have to get our volunteers to see you and give you a little baby Jesus to carry with you. You're going to need that. Adam McGill is one of the true heroes of GNCC racing, and he has proclaimed that this is indeed his mountain. And so we are on the phone now to Morrissey, Governor Morrissey. Hold on 1 minute, please. Yes, Governor Morrissey, we have you here. Yeah, you are live at Snowshoe Mountain Resort, Governor. Yes, Governor. Yes, there are about 10,000 of your best followers here on the mountain, folks. Governor, only you have the authority to change the name of this mountain. Forever, this mountain has been called Snowshoe Mountain, Governor. You know that. It is one of the best tourist attractions in all of West Virginia. Yes, Governor. Yes, but we're racing motorcycles today, Governor. Yes, Governor, these are ATVs and motorcycles in the dirt. So, Governor, our ask is, can you change the name for these 2 days from Snowshoe Mountain to McGill Mountain? Governor, can I... wait a minute, Governor. Governor, we have another rider here. His name is Walker Fowler. Yes, that Walker Fowler. Yes, sir. Yes, he's five-time. Yeah, you know the guy. He's a Yamaha rider. Yes. Governor, now Walker proclaims that this is called Walker Mountain. No, Governor, he's not from West Virginia. You're right, Governor. He isn't from West Virginia. He's from Ohio. Governor, I can't repeat that. Oh, now we're putting a little crown on him. He's got a big crown, a king crown, and a... All right, Governor, I know you have to go, so tell me what you think. I wish I had this on the PA system. Governor, these two guys are in a heated battle. Ladies and gentlemen, the governor of West Virginia, he's saying these words. I'm going to try to repeat as he talks. So, Governor, talk slow. No, Governor, you can talk faster than that. Yes, that's good. That's a good speed. I, Governor Morrissey, with the power vested in me by the people of the great state of West Virginia, and because it is the 50-year anniversary of GNCC racing in Blackwater. Yes, and it is the 50th anniversary of the Blackwater 100. I proclaim as governor of the state of West Virginia for the next 2 hours and 38 minutes and 14 seconds that Snowshoe Mountain is now being changed to McGill Mountain. Hold on, there's more. But let it be known by all men and all human beings that breathe mountain air at elevation 4848 that upon the checkered flag, the winner of this race will inadvertently change the name of this mountain to the last name of the winner of the ATV race. Thus, it could be Walker Mountain, it could be Neil Mountain, it could be anybody's mountain. And that Adam McGill, the pressure is on to retain the name of McGill Mountain. Signed, Governor Morrissey. All right, so you have it. For now, it is McGill Mountain. Thank Governor Morrissey. And we will soon find out when the checkered flag comes out if it remains McGill Mountain or if it will be changed to Walker Mountain or any of the other ones mountain. All right, back to you, DJ Judd. You're on TV, so you can't play music that people can really sing to, right? So it's still time for me to stall. How much time? Does anybody talk to him? Do we have an idea? All right. Who has the communication to TV? Yeah, tell them to take a 3-minute commercial and let's play some music. Okay. All right. We're trying to figure out if it's how much time we potentially need to clear the racetrack.
Are you ready to rev up your race game? Look no further than Landers KTM, your ultimate trackside support. We offer top quality parts, gear, accessories, and more. Plus, enjoy free labor from our certified technicians to keep you on track. Join the passion with your local dealership right here to support all your racing needs. Our friendly staff is geared up and ready to take care of you. And don't miss out. Experience up to $500 savings on select KTM Stasics. Available in all sizes. So, what are you waiting for? Swing by Landers KTM today and let us fuel your racing dreams. Landers KTM, where your race begins.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
be 90 minutes of non-stop fun.
Out here at High Point, Day in the Dirt, baby. We're gonna get after it.
How was the Day in the Dirt, all right?
Red Bull Day in the Dirt out east is returning to High Point August 29th through the 31st. That's the Labor Day weekend at High Point. You know what that means? It means fun. It means dirt bikes. It means hanging out bench racing with your pals. So come join us. Red Bull Day in the Dirt. We'll see you there.
Blackwater 50-year reunion celebration is coming to Davis, West Virginia on Monday, June 23rd. Here's your chance to line up on the iconic Main Street of Davis for an epic photo and video opportunity with the Blackwater film crew. Then after the lineup and photos are taken, we will meet at the Riverfront Park for food and drinks from our friends at Siriana's Cafe. Join us on Monday, June 23rd after the Snowshoe GNCC in Davis, West Virginia. Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. Out of Bidwell, Ohio, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Up next, the number 2 out of Rogers, Ohio, riding aboard a Kenda Tires Fly Racing, B&R and WFR-backed Yamaha, Walker Fowler. Up next, the number 6, coming off a big win just a few weeks ago at a new field, New York, on an HHR Fly Racing and Quad Tech-backed Yamaha, Hunter Hart. Up next, the number 4 out of Akron, Ohio, riding aboard the B&R Motorsports GBC and Merritt Racing-backed Yamaha, Josh Merritt. And now row number 2, the 712 out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, riding aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha Action Off-Road and Pierce Performance back ride, John Galata Jr. Up next, the number 3 out of Hillsboro, Ohio, riding aboard the SBR Pierce Performance and Kenda backed Yamaha, Wyatt Wilkin. Coming off a podium performance just a few weeks ago, the number 18 out of Acme, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the Action Off-Road Kenda and Custom Axis backed Yamaha, Jay Shadron. Up next, the number 10 out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, riding aboard the Action Off-Road Amsoil and CB Racing backed Yamaha, Chris Borich. And last but certainly not least, representing row number 2, the 521 out of Waverly, West by God, Virginia, on the Ober Moose Racing Parts Unlimited backed Honda, the Gator, Adam McGill. And that, ladies ladies and gentlemen, is your starting rows for row number 1 and row number 2 as our pro riders out of the top 10 will make their way back up Snowshoe Drive. John Glotta putting a little hot sauce on it for you right there. And we will reset on row number 1 and 2 as we are, I believe, under 5 minutes. So we reset. And we got the okay from Jeremy Holbert to send the rest of them. Also want to give a shout out to the number 5 out of Elk Ridge, Maryland on that B&R Motorsports Kenda Tires and Fearless back ride of Stephen Harrell out there as well. So a shout out there for Stephen Harrell. And we continue to listen to radio chatter and wait on our okay, safe to race. All right, real quick, folks, we have a car parked in the, I believe, ATV Pro Pits. That's got to be moved right now. If you parked a car in the ATV Pro Pits, wherever you're at, you need to make your way there now and get that moved right now. We're ready. Let's get this thing underway. All right, folks, without further ado, we ask, oh, hang on. Still waiting and listening to some radio chatter here. Want to again welcome everybody at home watching on racertv.com. Little bit of a delay, but man, outside of that, this is some of the best weather we have had up here on the mountain. So hang out with us just a second. Waiting on the radio chatter again before we're able to set things off.
Folks, it's a Toyota Highlander, and you're parked in the pro pits. You're parked in the racetrack. Yeah, it's going to get pinged with gravel and it's on the gravel road that comes behind Pro Pits. Ryan, what color is the Toyota Highlander and what state? Ryan, what color is the Highlander? What state is it from? (93553A) license plate, Virginia. It's a burgundy Highlander. It's about to get dinged up. We got to get someone up there to move it right away. We really don't want to start. All right, so we can't start until the burgundy Highlander is moved. We're going to dispatch the truck, the tow truck. It just recently got parked there. Yeah, folks, you can really, with a racetrack that's 12 miles long, if you park near a racetrack, you should look around and make real sure you're off the racetrack and that you're comfortable. All right, they moved it. They moved it. It was a Virginia tag, but it was a rental car by a pit fan. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's remove your hats and let's get into an attitude of prayer before we tackle these woods with the voice of Ricky Towery.
Thank you, Tim. Hey, let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a little word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, once again, thank you for bringing us all together safely. Lord, you brought us to such a beautiful place. You look across these mountains, it's so beautiful. We thank you for that. That's just one small thing you've done for us. Lord, watch over these riders this afternoon. Keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time together. Be it the spectators and the workers, let us all have a wonderful afternoon. Lord, watch over our military men and women. Right now, they're in all places of the world that we don't even know about, but they keep us safe and they keep us free so we can come out here and have fun. Be with them every day. Be with our leaders at the high level and the local level, that they would make the right decisions for us each and every day. Lord, we all just need to be thankful that we're on top of this mountain having fun. We've been coming here a long time, and there's been a lot of good memories made here. We just ask that maybe this afternoon there could be a few more memories made. Then we're going to start heading down the road going home. Take us all home safely so that one day we can get back together like this again and have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ricky. And now, remain standing and remove those hats. And let's honor the greatest nation on the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, your national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Light 'em up, let's go racing! Snowshoe West by God, Virginia. If you're not on your feet, get on your feet. We got pro ATV racing about ready to get underway as Ricky Towery, the maestro, will step out onto the track, be escorted by his private security service. That's Griff Cotter, by the way, who'd make a hell of a West Virginia Mountaineer mascot. I'm just saying, my goodness, throwing that out there. Not to boost the ego too much there, Griff, but hey, I got you, buddy. Ricky Towery makes his way up Snowshoe Drive. Ladies and gentlemen, 50 years of racing GNCC, and it all started in Davis, West Virginia at the Blackwater 100. 50 years ago in Snowshoe GNCC, we play tribute to our grassroots at the Blackwater 100. We start on the roadway. We got a thumbs up from Jeremy Holbert, and Ricky Towery steps forward and lets our riders know 1 minute. 1 minute until we're ready to go. Yamaha Racing, Snowshoe GNCC Racing. There it is. Blue flag waves, and we are just about ready to set it off in 10 seconds. seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, Josh Merritt, Stephen Harrell, and Hunter Hart. Row number 2, Wyatt Wilkin, Chris Borich, Jay Shadron, Adam McGill, John Glotta Jr. Row number 3, Jared McClure, Grayson Eller, Braxton Gross, Alex Tiemann, and Austin Abney. Robbins racing. Oh, the 703 gets sideways. Brandon Owens, Jeremiah Wolf, Ronnie Rush, and Cole Likens. Row number 6, Keaton Henderson, Dalton Keys, and Andre Williams. Row number 7, Kenny Schick, Rudy Lemieux, Logan Steele, Brady Myers, and Tanner Walker. Row number 8, Andrew Vanovsky, Alex Elioff, Aaron Vicky, Chance Hickey, and James Glotta. Row number 9, XC2 Pro-Am, Nick Royalty, Chase Allison, Parker Henderson, Brian Wall. Row number 10, Talon Stout, Caden Lambruno, Brody Pullen, and Aiden Jones out of the College A. Row number 11, Cameron Mahalan, Trevor Meadows, Sawyer Bolin, Jordan Berg, and Noah DeSersi. Oh, how about that? That's as close as it gets. Row number 12, Dylan Trigg, Ryan Wilhelm, Gavin Mann, Trip Alexo, and Evan Ruckel. Row 14, Vet A, 28 plus, Tom Kuntz, Alan Blavos, Christopher Kirby, J.D. Higgins, and Fred Marley. Hold. Wait on the signal from Ricky Towery. There we go. Row 15, Vet A, 28 plus, Henry Moore, Tyler Moore, Cody Holcomb, Zachary Bothwell, and Justin Willis. One rider coming off the machine. That's the 814 Zach Bothwell. He has climbed back aboard his trusty steed, and he is off and rolling. Wait on the signal from Ricky Towery. He says, here we go, 10 seconds. That is Torrin Johnson, the solo man there, representing that Vet A 28 plus. With some time to make up. Row number 18, Junior A 20 plus, Connor Brandt, Jeremy Ledon, Colton Kusta, Trevor Furby, and Damian Grisha. Row number 19, Ryan Hendershot, Briggs Lozelle, Trace Furby, and Randall Reedon. Row number 20, David Machisco, David Witt, Gavin Timple, Dominic Stevens, and Wesley Works. Row number 21, Josh DeNoble, Riley Salick, Logan Weisenheier, Seth Wilson, and Devin Masters. Hold. We got a rider down. Wait on the signal from Ricky Towery. We are just about ready here. Row number 22. Coming up next, wait on the signal from Ricky Towery. We are moving that ATV off to the side of the track. Continue to hold. Our rider back up on 2 feet. Let him hear it. There you go. And he's thinking about it, and I don't blame him. See what he's going to do here. Continue to hold. He is back on that ATV and rolling. Here we go. And 10 seconds. Row number 22, J.P. Jeff Pickens. That's Papa P. Sean Slattery and Chris Conklin. Hey, look out. Row number 23, Zachary Phillips and the Marlboro Man, Todd Muscola. Row number 24. It's our last rider out of Junior A, 20 plus. Hey, how about that little hot sauce on it? That's Travis Ertl. Row number 25, College B, Barrett Childers, Connor Humphreys, Evan Bridgewater, Trip Marino, and Landon Kostler. Row number 26, College B, Andrew Adams, J.N. Mittner, Eli Edgar, Ethan Barber, and Quentin Gowker. Row number 27, Max Rodriguez, Landon Ostrich, Brady Shepard, and Owen Sullivan. Row number 28, this is our last rider here out of the College B, Keelan Eichelberger. Junior B, 19 plus, Hunter Griffith, Ian Burns, Evan Lowmiller, Adam Sateful, and Tristan Howell. Row number 30 now, Junior B, 19 plus, Evan Young, Ethan Fike, Joey Stewart, Chris Sloan, and Blake Moore. Row 31, Corey Teeter, Zane Watson, Colton Dooley, and Joey Shaner. Row 33, Vet B, 28 plus, Eric Murphy, Frederick Harder, Brent Pennington, and Cody Wolford. Row 34, Vet B, 28 plus, Tanner Dovistic, Zachary DeNoble, Jason Whitley, Tyler Miller, and Cody Catano. Row 35, Tyler Travis, John Graham, and Billy Pringle. row 36. Senior B in a hold. One rider down, slow down, take it to the inside. Look out. Woo, hold. Wait on the signal from Ricky Towery. 354, Tyler Travis gets it whipped. 10 seconds. Bang, and we're off. Ace jockey for position into the first turn. It's going to be the 4:06 of Douglas Bailey. And the last rider off the line, make some noise. That's the 3:01 of Jason Noble. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. 50 years of racing GNCC as we pay tribute to the Blackwater 100 here on Snowshoe Mountain. We'll take a short commercial break, get in a word from our sponsors, and be back with more right after this.
Unleash aggression, reliability, and premium quality with Kenda Tires. Delivering exceptional performance on all types of vehicles. Automotive, ATVs, UTVs, motorcycles, bicycles, trailers, lawn and garden, and even golf. Trust Kenda Tires to guide you on your next adventure. Kenda, designed for your journey.
There.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Bogging off the bottom. Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVNC.com. Get ready.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 50th annual Progressive Insurance Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is round number 9, the 2025 Yamaha Racing Snowshoe GNCC. My name is Jackson Burrell. I'm going to be alongside Zach Heron, Johnny G, and of course Mikey Waynes to bring you today's racing action. Boys, it's good to be back here at Snowshoe.
Man, you said it, Jackson. Snowshoe is one that everyone has circled on their calendar, not just for the great racing, as you just saw, Howard's Hole, a spectacle in its own right, but man, the racing is always so incredible here as well. We want to show you how things got kicked off. We'll take a look at our specialized start recap because the start is arguably one of the most unique parts of racing here at Snowshoe. What am I talking about? Wait a second. Johnny G, you've lined up on this road right here. How special is it as a racer being here at Snowshoe?
Yeah, you know, it really is a special feeling. So many fans, and they are all amped up when this happens here, when that row 1 takes off. Hunter Hart tucking it around the inside, followed closely by Stephen Harrell. Walker Fowler getting pinched off there. And then row 2, Alex Tiemann and, oh, look at that, up on 2 wheels, Austin Abney. But it looked like actually Braxton Gross sneaking around the inside there. So that was your whole shot winners in the XC1 and XC2 class. Braxton Gross, you can see a lot of contact in this first turn. These guys not used to operating these machines on paved surfaces, and it's with knobby tires, they don't hook up all that well, boys.
Yeah, it was a very quick flag draw. I mean, right as the 10-second call started, I think it caught Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler a little off guard, but how about it? Hunter Hart was out front, but it looked like Stephen Harrell has actually made the pass and taken over the XC1 lead. This is a little bit earlier. We caught them in one of our camera shots. Wyatt Wilkin, Chris Borch just behind.
John Glauda Jr. Yep. Then there's Adam McGill, followed closely by Jay Shadron. So row 2 has already made up the gap. That was very early on. Then we go to Howard's Hole. Stephen Harrell coming through with the lead, getting around Hunter Hart. You can see guys already starting to push water. They got logs in there and already starting to get stuck. Here comes some riders behind them. Looks like that is your third place ride of Josh Merritt. And they're trying to get these guys going. This is how quickly the chaos gets started here at Snowshoe.
Oh, man, look at that. Merritt started. Oh, now he's into the crowd. Absolutely. That's not the kind of slideways we want to see here. McGill trying to find a way around the mud fleas, immediately jumping in to help.
And we see Jared McClure making some moves, getting up there.
Some moves.
And we did see what you couldn't see on the camera shot, that line to the left of camera, right of track. There was another way through there, so some of the other riders that you didn't come through that section, including Walker Fowler, looked like we didn't see Bryson Neal come through there. Those guys opting for that high line, maybe even made some passes because we saw that log really threw some chaos into the mix.
Now, Snowshoe, one of the more technical tracks on the circuit, rocks a big name in the game here as well, but it's got kind of a mix. It's got some tight technical sections. I would include Howard Hole in that, but also got some high-speed sections as well. Riders kind of getting the best of both worlds in all conditions out here.
Yeah, you know, it's when you look at it, we've got ski slopes, and then not just the slopes themselves, all of the roads that they use to maintain the slopes, most of those are run for this race. So it's a mix of like first and second gear, picking your way through big rocks, deep mud, crazy crowds, and then you come out on these ski slopes and it's just full send, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour. Flashing ahead here to mile marker number 5, we see some of our other classes working their way through here on lap number 1, and you can already see the track starting to rut up. A lot of rain the few weeks leading up here. It's beautiful on the mountain here today. 75, 80 degrees and sunny. A lot of guys talking about we haven't had a race this warm this year yet, let alone up here on Snowshoe Mountain. It's been a decade or more since we've had close to 80-degree temperatures. There is your leader, Stephen Harrell, at the 6-mile marker, a little bit further ahead. Just behind him, we'll see how this shakes out. Wyatt Wilkin with a big jump, making a bunch of passes there. Then it is, looks like Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler, so that would be 3 and 4, followed by, couldn't actually see who that was there, and then Jared McClure coming through. Then as we go back, looks like that appears to be Hunter Hart there, and then Josh Merritt. So those guys really losing a lot of positions there with that log in Howard's Hole. You know, the mud fleas, they can be your best friend, or they can be your worst enemy. In that case, those guys actually took that log from elsewhere and relocated it into the track, making it a little bit more difficult. That'll all get kept under control, but they'll help you when you get stuck. And there we see, looked like that was possibly Adam McGill coming through there. There is Chris Borich. Brandon Owens coming through there as well. He's on that camouflage machine this weekend, that Sturtevant Power Sports machine. Local race for them. They're out of Elkins, West Virginia, literally just at the base of the mountain from here. So they have a little bit extra swagger. Big support crew out here today. Then it's the 223 of Braxton Gross there, another one of the riders embattled in that points battle in that XC2 class. There's Austin Abney, Ronnie Rush, and I don't know if that's Cole or Noah, but the older Likens. Boy, I always forget which one is which. I believe that is Cole Likens, the older one. He's been a standout in our amateur classes this year. Was a top amateur in points. Actually got to line up on row number 3. So that is a great start for him, and he's mixed in with some fast company. Going to learn a lot out there today.
Yeah, sitting in the top 20 as far as our 2025 series points go. So Cole Likens definitely one to keep your eyes out on. And Johnny, right here at this mile 6 camera mark, you're able to get a real good shot at exactly how fast these riders are making their way through this hill and through those rocks, bouncing all over the place, especially those top 5, top 10 riders that made their way through.
Yeah, we talk about so much, how technical the mountain is, and obviously we know we have those fast ski slopes and connector roads, if you will. There's Alex Elioff on screen, one of our XC2 riders. But these sections really kind of is where the race makes or breaks. There's so much of this cobble and loose rock that you really just have to send it. I mean, you have to carry your speed, because if you pick your way through, worry about denting up the machine, possibly damaging it, you're just losing so much time. So you'll see your leaders just really carrying good speed through there. And I can tell you on the ATV side, I don't think this is the same on the bike. On the ATV side, a lot of guys will have a special bike earmarked for Snowshoe that's on its last race of its lifespan, because when they're done with it here, they're done with it. This place is brutal on equipment. It's tough for the riders, but on the equipment, it is absolutely brutal.
Well, and it's easy to see why. I mean, you can see just how much these guys are bouncing back and forth. And I was actually going to ask that, if there's a technical aspect to it, or just kind of you got to send it. I mean, are these guys able to somewhat predict the rock lines, what's going to move around?
Sure, but the biggest thing, you can see these rocks rolling around. It's tough to kind of predict where those things are going to roll to. So you have to send it, but you also have to be prepared, because at any given moment, that machine can just kind of flip sideways on you. It could be off in the weeds. So sending it under control is the key.
Is that possible? Can you be under control, or is it kind of just throwing caution at the wind in a section like this?
Snowshoe's a fine line between chaos and calculation, and that's how you try to win this place, is you got to find that fine line and push it.
I believe it.
Well, a little bit of our track crew got to actually go and check this course out. We'll show you. This was earlier this weekend. The sun was shining, and like you said, a lot of rocks, but some standing water, a lot of different variables out here. This is our very own OPAG, our director Don Hampton up in front of him. I believe DJ Judd might have gone out there with him as well. Had the whole crew out there, and really showing us a first-hand look as to what these riders are going through.
Yeah, and that really does show you just how difficult these sections are. You can see feet off. That we do have an over-under section at this track. This is the only one of those we have every year. Coming across some of the riders out there inspecting the race course, but it is very, very challenging and very diverse. There's just so much different terrain here on Snowshoe Mountain. It'd be easy to say, looking at Howard's Hole, like, oh, is the whole track like that? Is it just one big rocky mud hole? No, there's fast stuff. There's some, flowing fast section that isn't rocky. I didn't say sections, I said section. There's like one section of the track that is fast flowing, not rocky. But it is a very dynamic race course, and you have to really come in with the mindset, like we were talking about there, Jackson. You got to find that fine line, because we've seen so many times riders amass big leads here at Snowshoe, especially again on ATV day, and then they come in broken ball joint, ripped off A-arm, 3 flat tires. It's just, you have to keep the machine intact to get to the finish line, but you got to do it quickly.
And everybody knows here at Snowshoe that is one of the key elements, is getting that machine to a checkered flag. We've already saw it this morning in our 4x4 Pro class, seeing some breakdowns. That is going to be one of the key factors here today, no doubt, Zach.
Well, and another thing he touched on was the flat tires. I've seen more flats today than I think I have maybe the entire season. One rider coming through both of the rear tires completely flat, and it just goes to show, we say it all the time, but especially here at Snowshoe, you have to focus on getting the machine to the finish as much as mitigating the risk and the speed that you're going out on track.
Well, think back to just 1 year ago. That's exactly what happened to Adam McGill before he even made it through that first lap. He was in the run-in, had a great charge going, and then before it was over with, absolutely blowing that tire completely away. So hopefully not seeing any of that today with our top pros.
Yeah, the big thing with the tires here at Snowshoe is it's not the big rocks that you see kind of sticking up out of the ground that get you. You can see those, either line them up to hit them perfectly with the tire or miss them altogether. It's those rolly rocks and those fast sections, like we saw that downhill there a moment ago. Especially if there's a rider in front of you, those rocks are moving and rolling everywhere, and they're such sharp edges. It's just so easy to catch one of those just wrong. Typically in the sidewall, it'll give you a snake bite. Next thing you know, you're running on every one of your top riders that we're going to be following today have some type of flat prevention system, whether it be tire balls, which we don't talk about that much, but it is individual pillows or air bladders inside each tire, so they run about 13 in the front, 12 or 13 in the rear, and they run anywhere between 5.5 to 6 psi in each bladder. They do still run air in the carcass of the tire as well to be able to tune for different tracks, but when you lose that, if you puncture the tire, if you damage the rim badly enough that the air escapes, those tire balls will still keep you up. Several other systems out there. There's tire spines, tire blocks that are made out of foam, kind of like run flat, similar to like a bib mousse on a dirt bike, but they're individual pieces rather than one big continuous piece of foam.
Well, I've not heard of that myself, so they're for those, the ones that are holding air. What happens if you blow those out? Is there a possibility for those to get blown out?
They're pretty tough, man. I mean, you definitely can puncture, and it's not uncommon where if you do puncture the carcass itself, they run them in both the front and the rear. The rears really kind of take a beating. If you have a lot of impacts after you damage your tire and lose the PSI inside the tire carcass itself, you may lose any number from 1 or 2 up to 5 or 6 of those individual inflation pillows, but again, there's 13 in a tire, so it's enough to kind of keep that rim up off the ground, and it doesn't give you the sensation of a flat tire. It's more like a low tire. Another thing that is just gnarly here on Snowshoe Mountain, and this section is one of the worst, the roots. These tree roots, we're up here at elevation. They get a ton of rain. We always talk about it. Snowshoe has its own weather system. The other day, down at the bottom of the mountain, 75 degrees, sunny, drive up here, and you're in a cloud. So it's very moist up here in these woods, and it exposes this topsoil comes off, gets pushed down the mountain when it rains. It exposes these tree roots. We call them sniper roots. It can be so hard to maintain your direction when those sniper roots are trying to just push you around and kick you around. So you got the rocks, you got the roots, you got the mud fleas there, getting that machine off. And this gentleman here, only 5 miles in, looking like, at least for the moment, his charge on Snowshoe Mountain has either come to an end or at least taken a little pause while they see if they can get that machine going again.
Yeah, it's exactly what Jackson and I were talking about earlier. There's a lot of guys that want to claim this is their mountain, but the mountain also claims a lot of riders by the end of the weekend. So our top riders, though, I feel like this track especially, it shows the diversity in the speed and skill level. We talk about this all the time on Sunday as well. These are some of our top ATV athletes around the world, around the country, and to watch the way our top riders maneuver these kinds of sections, and then the riders, not that these guys on screen aren't going as fast, but it just shows how much these guys are the 1% of the sport.
Well, there's really a perspective thing there, because you're watching on screen, you see Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Gallardo Jr., all these guys come ripping through camera shot. Hunter Hart revving the bike so hard you'd swear that the piston's going to come flying right out through the gas tank. And those guys, they're the elite of the elite. But everyone we see on screen here, for the most part, most of these riders are some of the best from their area, from their region, from their state, from their local series for sure. These riders that are even in our A and B classes go back, and they are dominant within their local series, whether it be within their class or in many cases even their overall finishes. So it just goes to show, when the cream rises to the top, those guys are just phenomenal at what they do.
Yeah, the depth is something that I don't think gets appreciated enough here at GNCC. How many top athletes from, like you said, the local series, and these, maybe not top athletes, I don't know, there's some athletic stuff, for sure. Top athletic stuff going on down there. This is Howard's Hole. I'm going to be making my way down here in a little bit, trying to catch the scoop. We'll hopefully be able to get you guys some reports from down there. And like we talked about, this is one of those unpredictable variables. That
is Walker Fowler on screen. We'll see what the running order is. Just behind him, it is the 3 of Wyatt Wilkin, followed closely by Harrell, then Bryson Neal, Jay Shadron, looked to be Jared McClure, so a big charge for him. Here comes the 6 of Hunter Hart. He's wanting to throw his hat in the mix there today, and Josh Merritt as well. So that is your lead group here, 10 miles in, and we've already seen a number of shakeups. Early on in this one, unless we missed Adam McGill, this battle for the mountain, pretty lopsided. Walker Fowler, big gap over Adam McGill here already early.
Yeah, we touched on it in our show opener, the back and forth on social media. I love it. These guys having a ton of fun. They are talking some smack, but at the end of the day, it's a good time, and the fans get into it. It's almost our little WWE stop where everybody's on a side. Stu Baylor at our show last night was asking the crowd, and the McGill Billies, they're here in force, so maybe they can will him to the front.
There's one thing I'll say, without being lopsided on this, it all depends on how you look at it. As far as the enthusiasm on the mountain,
speaking of,
this guy on screen right here, the gator, Adam McGill, definitely has the crowd behind him. They're pushing him, they're willing him, they want to see him up front. It was pointed out to me by another rider, and I just so we're saying it wasn't Walker Fowler. One of the other XC1 riders said, it's pretty funny, Adam's claiming this as his mountain. Hasn't won here in a decade, I was told. We'll have to check our facts and see if that is the case. But if that's the case, he needs to get it done today if he wants to try and carry that sign around for sure.
Man, that'd be quite the accomplishment, a decade apart.
Well, one thing we know for sure, Walker Fowler has one more win than Adam does. I believe 5 for Fowler, 4 there for the Gators. So right now, Fowler trying to make that 6.
Looked to me like possibly Bryson Neal may have gotten around Stephen Harrell there in that last section of racetrack and worked as he has. He is now up to the number 3 spot. And, Harrell getting hung on that hill climb there. Losing. Oh, actually, that was Wilkin. There's Neal there in 3rd. And then Harrell there in the number 4 spot. They're going to come through. Very challenging section of racetrack right here. You know, it's deceiving. It's right off the pavement. But this section right here, so many tree roots where they're about to go in. They're working their way through the pro pits now. Fowler out front. Wyatt Wilkin giving chase. Another rider was on the podium here. So expect big things out of that rider right on screen right there, Wyatt Wilkin. That is your first, second. Here comes 3rd. Bryson Neal making the move. 4th place. Oh, look at that. Harrell getting racy. Then it is Jay Shadron in the number 6 spot, or 5 spot. Then it's McClure in 6th, Hunter Hart in 7th, and Josh Merritt rounding out the top 8. Those guys flying in formation all right together and really pushing the pace. And we saw from that last camera shot, they've already started to gap out on the group behind them. 10 riders in the top 2 rows, and 2 of those riders have already been dropped back.
So there we go. Watching here from the Yamaha Racing live drone. And I got a question for you guys. So we've been talking about whose mountain it is. If Bryson Neal gets the win today, is this going to be the Neal Hill?
You know, you can't argue the fact. 2 in a row, that's a pretty powerful stat. And I think at this point, it may not be his mountain, but it's definitely his series. You know, he is just running away with the points, with race wins this year, and doing it from every possible way. Starting up front, coming through the pack, not sleeping, having a baby the day before, coming out, still putting it on the box at our last round. Bryson Neal, the Bidwell Bullet, is just absolutely firing on all cylinders right now, and no reason to think that he's not in a position to battle for the win here today. If he does grab the win 3 in a row, now you've got Bryson Neal with 3, Adam McGill with 4, and Walker Fowler with 5. I think next year, all 3 of them need to line up in the first turn and duke it out to try to claim this mountain.
Hey, it's going to be a good one. Somebody's going to get to stamp their name on it by the end of this one. A 2-hour-long race here for our PM Pro ATVs. And we're officially underway as 1 lap in the books now.
Well, not yet.
Oh, not yet.
No, they're working their way up to the finish line. This row
that was pro
up.
row.
Yep, that was pro row. So they're going to come through at the top of this hill. They'll have a couple of chicanes. Then they'll go through the scoring. Keep in mind, folks, when you see this lap time, this is a very, very short lap. They've essentially only run. Well, no, I guess they did. It will be 1 complete lap. They'll just have missed 1 small little section. So this is going to give us some idea, but this should be the shortest lap of racing action here today, and we are going to see them checking their way here in just a matter of probably under 30 seconds. They've got 1 more climb, and here it is. Walker Fowler throwing ruse, taking a look over his shoulder to see where his nearest competitor is, sitting in the number 2 spot. Fowler coming through. He's going to check in. We'll get a lap time. And again, folks, one other thing to take into consideration, we'll just bring it up right now, time correction. It is different at this race than any other because we start 5 riders 2 a row. It almost looks to me like Stephen Harrell has gotten back around Bryson Neal, and he has. So look at this, Stephen Harrell not wanting to let Walker Fowler and Wyatt Wilkin get away. As we correct time, I think it's not checked in yet. Oh, actually, that is interesting. Oh, yes. Wyatt Wilkin was on the... No, Wyatt Wilkin was on row 2. Yep. But they're showing, okay, well, interesting. He looked like he was closer to Fowler than me than that, but they are showing him 9 seconds behind, 9.5 seconds. We may need to check with race direction on that, because to me it looked like Wyatt Wilkin was a lot closer than that, not physically, but once you correct that time between the rows, I think those 2 are going to be very close on time correction. We'll bring that up, and we'll see exactly what that... So actually, with time correction here, we're showing an elapsed time of 28:04, so 2 seconds. The time behind for Wyatt Wilkin, 9.5 seconds, but on the elapsed, he's only 2 seconds behind Walker Fowler. So there must have been roughly a 7.5 second time correction between row 1 and 2, so we'll keep an eye on that. Stephen Harrell there sitting in the number 3 spot. Then it's Bryson Neal in 4th, and we'll give you the rundown of the top 10 9 have checked in at least. Jay Shadron in that number 4 spot. Jay Shadron also got around Bryson Neal, not physically, but again, back to that time correction, he is close enough to Bryson Neal that he jumped him in the running order. Jared McClure then in the number 6 spot, Bryson Neal 5th, Hunter Hart 7th, Josh Merritt 8th, and Adam McGill in the number 9 spot. He is about... Oh, actually, now Adam McGill drops back another spot as Brandon Owens checks in from starting from row number 4 or 5, I believe. And it looks like McGill now back to 10th with Owens bumping up to that number 9 spot.
So there it is.
Timing and scoring are going to be a huge talking point throughout this entire weekend. And, we'll see how things play around. And we see this a lot on Sundays where you see your leader on screen, Walker Fowler. But the riders kind of doing races in their head with the clock as well, especially as this race wears on.
Guys, that right there is such a pivotal point of the racetrack where he just was and where we see Wyatt Wilkin. Now, here's why. As they start downhill, let me tell you what's at the bottom of that hill. A little place called Howard's Hole. And you know those guys. I can tell you every time I raced here, you get to that hill and you start going down and you just kind of cross your fingers and say, man, I hope the mud fleas are on my side today. I hope they let me take one of the good lines, and I hope they help me through if I have an issue. To be full disclosure, Howard's Hole, not that difficult of a section standalone by itself, but when you fill it with several hundred, if not thousands of people like you see here, you can't go where you want to go. You can't go where the good lines are. You go between people, and that's what makes Howard's Hole so challenging.
Yeah, this is without a doubt the fan attraction. We see the free Howard's Hole signs all season long, and we'll see the lines develop too. They kind of change. I've been down there before, and it's almost like a shift in the ocean if they decide they want everybody to go a different way. And it's the uncontrollable variable. Look, they can tell, hey, they're coming.
They can hear them.
All of a sudden, the track appears.
They can hear them. At this point, they know they're coming down the hill. They can hear them. They're waving them on. They're telling them where to go. And here comes your leader, Walker Fowler. He's taken that far inside to them, outside to us line. We saw the line right here in front of us. We have our teleprompter. If we look at this line over here to the right, this is where now we've switched cameras, but nonetheless, Walker Fowler, not a tire placed wrong, on a charge and starting to open up a gap now. Wow, I assume we had to have missed some riders when we did the camera pan there because they were much closer to that. That looks to be, no, that is Wyatt Wilkin.
Wow.
So Walker Fowler opening up a big lead now. Here comes, there was Harrell, there's Bryson Neal. He's waiting, and just behind him, Josh Merritt. Those guys are waiting because, oh, look at this. Now Hunter Hart making a couple moves, making passes. Josh Merritt, these guys trying to decide which line to take. Guys, we've got a shakeup on lap number 2. So I do believe Wyatt Wilkin already made it out of that section. We'll see here in a minute. And there is Harrell. We did see Jay Shadron go through, so I think Shadron may now be up to 3rd. Bryson Neal might have come through there as well. So that's about your top 7 as they've checked in on screen all the way back to Hunter Hart and Josh Merritt. Look at that, Bryson Neal getting stuck, and there is Hunter Hart. Looks like he may have tried to make a move on Neal there. So that is your top 8 having checked in, with Neal dropping all the way back to 7th or 8th place position. Hunter Hart getting around him, it looked like there on camera possibly. But what we saw was Walker Fowler picking masterful lines through there. Not a tire placed wrong, never spun a wheel, just trucked his way through the hole. And it looks like he's got, to me, at least a 15-20 second gap now. And that may loom large at the end of this because we've talked about that time correction. If you start on the front row, it's so nerve-wracking on the last lap. You're just looking over your shoulder on every slope because you know there's a bunch of fast guys back there, and you've got to say, okay, I got to pull these guys at least 7, 8, 10 seconds to make sure I've got that time correction covered.
Yeah, he's turned on the afterburners now, and got to wonder, I'm thinking back to that shot where we saw Stephen Harrell through the pit lane. It looked like Neal was looking down at the machine. He wasn't really charging his hard. You just got to wonder, seems kind of uncharacteristic to have Neal getting shuffled back like this.
That looked to be Brandon Owens, the 246 machine. So he's on a charge, but has a bunch of time to make up to get up to those leaders. There is the 223 of Braxton Gross. That may be your XC2 leader. We know Alex Tiemann out there. Interestingly enough, it actually was Gross on lap number 1 with a 3-second lead. With a 3-second lead over Alex Tiemann in that number 2 spot. And then Jeremiah Wolf rounding out the top 3 in that XC2 Pro-Am class. Cole Likens, 17th overall out of that College A class. He is latched onto those guys and not letting them go.
A good run here early in this one for Likens. Do want to tell everybody that's out there on Racer TV, The infamous Howard's Hole here is much bigger than just this one camera shot, so if you're trying to get your bearings together on exactly where everything is, this does go on for quite some time past this. Johnny, at least a few hundred more feet that these riders are on. We see it in those other camera shots, so they've got plenty of ground that they got to make through all of these mud fleas out here and through all of this mud. And Johnny, we could see over on the right side of our screen this hole right here.
That's deep.
That is very deep. We saw some of those mud fleas up to their knees.
That was a very brief shot of your leader there, Walker Fowler, working his way up one of those access roads and hauling the mail. One thing you've really got to watch out here for at Snowshoe is these water breaks. So when it rains, you can see his bike kind of jump there just now. See how he got that little kick sideways, and there it is again. Those are all water breaks that when it rains or the runoff from the snow here, so it doesn't groove up those roads, they actually divert the water off to the side. But when you're racing, it can be very challenging, especially on the downhills. You've got to absolutely be cautious, especially in the dust. If you can't see those water breaks, you're liable to catch one. Jackson, I may be speaking from personal experience. 2017, I cartwheeled myself off the side of the mountain and absolutely totaled an ATV. Was lucky that just the way I went flying and where I slid and where I flipped to, I lived. But of all the injuries I've had, by far, that was the scariest crash I've ever had and the most amount of damage I've ever done to a machine. It was unrideable by the time we retrieved it from the woods. Subframe broken, airbox ripped off. The entire thing just ripped to pieces. And I watched it as I hit the ground and was sliding on my back. I saw it just cartwheeling and flipping, and then it just disappeared off the side of the mountain. So those water breaks have jumped up and bit a number of riders over the years. Definitely something we'll keep an eye out for today. Mikey Waynes joins us now in the booth.
What's up?
We've got a lot of action, but right now, the action on screen is this man right here. The number 2 of Walker Fowler is putting in a push early, trying to break his competitors. And look at the gap he's got. Dude, this is just now Wyatt Wilkin coming through at the 4-mile marker. Walker Fowler was through this section quite a bit of time ago, and now in the 3rd spot, the man we said to keep an eye out on, Jay Shadron in the number 3 spot, followed closely by the 5 of Stephen Harrell and the 4 of Josh Merritt. Now, so that is your top 5 through. Walker Fowler already switching over to the west side of the mountain. He's opened up a gap. OPAG telling us about 30 seconds. Doesn't seem like a huge gap, but a mile ago, those guys were, Wyatt Wilkin was 2 seconds behind him. He's opened up near a 30-second gap in just a matter of a few miles of racing. So he's on a charge, and those guys all did have some struggles, not only in Howard's Hole, but on that downhill leading up to Howard's Hole. We don't have a camera there, but it's pretty challenging in and of itself.
This is, dare we say, can we say this is like retro Walker Fowler yet? Is he that?
Right now he's riding that way.
Got gray hairs now, you can say that.
He's riding that way, but we'll see if he's able to keep it up. Not doubting him, but man, this is a long race and a challenging race course. If he's able to keep up the flow, you can see right now he just looks loose. Yeah. He looks like he's just hitting his marks and not really worried about, picking lines. He's just kind of going, and when he does that, he can be a dangerous man and hard to beat.
It really was like sitting in the control room watching. It's just like, man, this looks like 2017, 2018 Walker Fowler out there setting a pace. Maybe it's the mustache and the gold chain. I don't know.
He's got the mustache and the gold chain, but there's been some conversations the last 3 weeks. A few of us may have asked him to review some video and see the way he's been riding as opposed to, he's made a lot of bike changes in this offseason and made it pretty well known he's not been happy with the way the machine's been performing. And we pointed out that maybe it wasn't that the bike was bad, it was just different, and maybe you just need to loosen up and ride instead of trying to control every little movement. If you look back, Walker Fowler back in the day, 2017, flowing on the bike, and it looks a little bit more early on in this one. We're not giving away the trophy. We're not giving away, I don't know if we got a snowboard today. I
think.
But if we do, we're not giving away that snowboard just yet. But right now, he's looking good, and there is a gnarly pack of dudes behind him giving chase, and they're going to do everything they can to try to close up that gap.
Well, like we've been saying, we saw the banner all week long between Fowler and McGill. Fowler looks to be trying to put that to rest as now McGill is on screen.
And he does look like he's made up a little bit of time on Bryson Neal and that group in front of him, but still sitting back there just on the edge of the top 10 in that number 10 spot overall. And there is McClure behind him. So McClure, big drop back. Howard's Hole, not so good to him that lap. He was up he was in the number 6 spot. Now he's back behind McGill and at the tail end of the top 10. Fast forward here, Yamaha Racing Live Drone under this power line section. It's deceiving, man. This power line is what they run to go up to the pro pits, and you're coming down, and you can see that hill that goes to the pro pits, and then they make that 180 left right there, and it's like, just kidding. You got about 6 more miles until you get to go up and have a little bit of rest on the pavement. But every year here, I would always think, like, wait, is this? You kind of lose your bearings for a minute. You're like, is this it? Are we almost done with this lap? And then, nope, just kidding. You're not even halfway yet.
Nowhere near it.
Here comes your second place rider, Wyatt Wilkin. So it looks like he may have made up a bit of that gap that Fowler had started to open up. He is charging, and we know Wyatt with his first ever podium, snowshoe podium, last year here, definitely wanting to replicate that, if not go one better, and put himself in the center of the box.
It's something, I don't think you guys have brought this up yet. The only guy I heard of, Johnny, get your perspective on this, running the big ones today, the big tires, was Hunter Hart.
Nope, all of them.
All of them.
Every single one of the riders in the top 2, actually in the top 4 rows, all with big tires.
Is that typical here at Snowshoe?
It has become so. It didn't used to be, but as you know, one thing that we talked about off air is each year here, between the rain erosion and then obviously the kind of material that gets moved around, here we see your leader on screen, those rocks, they just extend further and further out of the ground. They're not doing this because they're afraid of getting stuck like we do at many tracks in the mud. You can see not a lot of, I mean, it's slurry, but not a lot of like deep mud where they would get stuck, but it just gives you, breaking it down, you've got a 20-inch front, or 20-inch rear, 21-inch front normally. They add 2 inches to those sizes for the big, so you run a 23 front, 22 rear. You understand a circle, half of the circle, you get 1 inch of extra ground clearance out of those tires, and that is huge on a day like today. If you can pick your machine up 1 inch more without sacrificing the handling as much, it just allows you to float over bigger rocks, not smash the frame and A-arms, and just carry your speed better. And Wyatt Wilkin on a charge. Look over his shoulder there. He knows just behind him was the 5 of Stephen Harrell, but look at that. Did not look to be Harrell.
We'll see here as this next rider makes their way by. We expect it to be Bryson Neal, I do believe that would be next.
Neal had dropped way back.
Oh,
so there is Merritt. That almost looked like Hunter Hart, but it could have been Jay Shadron. There is Harrell there because that's an Alpine Stars helmet. There is Hunter Hart. And maybe Jay Shadron now in the number 3 spot. We did see he was in that spot earlier. And then here comes the Bidwell Bullet. Bryce Neal back there in about the number 7 or 8 spot. Once we correct the time, we'll figure it out. But that is your top 7 through on camera.
And Johnny Urano, I do believe that's going to be Shadron.
Yep.
Yes, Shadron in place of Harrell there in that third place position.
In the last camera shot, it was definitely Harrell, but somewhere in between those 2 camera shots, I think Jay Shadron was able to make the move, coming hot off a podium just 3 weeks ago, and coming into today, a place where Jay Shadron loves this mountain, man. He's always done well here.
Yeah, very confident in talking a pre-race. Is that McClure?
McClure has gotten around McGill now, dropping McGill back to the tail end of the top 10, sitting there in that 10th place spot. McClure got back around him from our camera shot 1 mile ago.
Yeah, the Yamaha Racing pre-race report, Jay Shad was feeling confident, obviously coming off of that podium performance in the XC1, and then it felt like he was capable of maybe throwing his name in the hat for a win today. Right now sitting in a podium position. Pretty darn good. Well, we are on Snowshoe Mountain. It's round number 9 of the 2025 GNCC racing season. 50 years of racing GNCC. It's a monumental season, and we pay tribute to that here to the Blackwater 100 that started it so many years ago, 50 years ago in Davis, West Virginia. Some special events going on there on Monday. We'll talk more about that in the broadcast later, but right now, little retro Walker Fowler. He's got 5 under his belt. He's going for number 6. Can he hang on and make it happen? All that and more. We'll be right back after this. The Blackwater 50-year reunion celebration is coming to Davis, West Virginia on Monday, June 23rd. Here's your chance to line up on the iconic Main Street of Davis for an epic photo and video opportunity with the Blackwater film crew. Then after the lineup and photos are taken, we will meet at the Riverfront Park for food and drinks from our friends at Siriana's Cafe. Join us on Monday, June 23rd after the Snowshoe GNCC in Davis, West Virginia.
You hear that? That's the new truck.
It's going to be 90 minutes of non-stop fun.
We're out here at High Point, day in the dirt, baby. We're gonna get after it.
How was the day in the dirt, all right?
Red Bull Day in the Dirt out east is returning to High Point August 29th through the 31st. That's Labor Day weekend at High Point. You know what that means? It means fun. It means dirt bikes. It means hanging out bench racing with your pals. So come join us. Red Bull Day in the Dirt. We'll see you there.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 laps, the main event, the mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to Snowshoe Mountain, Snowshoe GNCC. There is a shot of Howard's Hole. Hey, real quick, we want to show a quick feature on the ISDE Golf Tournament. But real quick, we have a very important announcement. This is for folks here on property. Braylon Michael, we are looking for you. We need you to come to, I believe, the medical building.
Yes,
is that
the
correct?
big top over, a.k.a. the Onion.
Yep.
So once again, Braylon Michael, last seen over at Cheat Mountain. We're looking for you, man. We need you to come over to the big top, a.k.a. the Onion, over there at the medical tent.
All right, with that said, well, that's that as needed as well. But with that said, hey, ISDE coming up, and we have the ISDE Golf Tournament that happens every year here at Snowshoe. And for that, we got ourselves a nice little feature.
One of the traditions of Snowshoe is the annual ISDE Golf Tournament on Friday leading into the weekend. Racers, team members, and industry personnel all come out to enjoy some good times,
Yeah, baby.
friendly competition, and raising funds for the U.S. ISDE team to be sent to Italy later this season. We were able to catch up with a couple of the riders taking place in the fun. A rider representing and out here on the golf course as well. What are we feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I'm here participating. That's about as far as my golf game goes. Awesome that we get to come out here, all the riders and even team members, and kind of enjoy their Friday. It's a long season and a lot of hard work. So,
touching on the ISDE team last year, getting a fill-in ride this year, earning that spot, man. Talk about how good that feels to be chosen this year right off the bat and ready to represent USA once again.
yeah, last year was a last-minute call a little bit. I didn't get much time to prepare, so this year it's cool. I'm honored to be a part of the world team, and it's always an honor to be selected to represent the USA. So I'm gonna go over there, give it my best, and I have quite a bit more time to prepare this year. So my standards and how I want to do is a lot higher. So hopefully I can be part of bringing back the gold for America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the annual ISDE Golf Tournament. Jesse Ansley, we're here at hole number 9. An incredible starter shot. What is it going to take to bring this thing home?
Dude, our teammate absolutely crushed that one, didn't he? 5-iron. We're looking at about a 12-foot putt. He's probably going to sink it. We're still like 3 under, so.
Now we focus our attention to the putt. Draws back, it's gone. And that's all it takes.
That's an eagle right there. That's an eagle. Self-eagle.
There it is, folks.
Whether we play good or bad, all about having a good time, supporting the cause. ISD is pretty cool.
How about that? My extent of golf is, I believe it still stands for gentlemen only, ladies forbidden, and that's about what I know about golf, Johnny. That's how it goes.
So back here to Howard's Hole to watch them make their way around some of our amateur riders. And we also had some more fun going on here, Mikey. We had some concerts last night. Gonna have it again tonight, but for last night, we had a good time.
Our man Zach Herron, and they're one of our performers, and so many amazing artists, not athletes. But you can see the village was absolutely no. They might be athletes as well, but at that time in the day, they're artists. And we'll cautiously watch this. Things definitely getting wild last night, but I was told it was a good time. I'm 47 years old. I steer clear of the village after dark, but it is a great time. Might stop in there. I'd really like to see Zach perform.
I'm gonna hang out tonight. I missed it last night. I'm knocking on the door of 40 this year myself, Johnny, but getting up at 2:30 a.m. to come here yesterday, I was like, I don't have it in me. So I slept right through this. I couldn't even hear it. I was out, but I'm going to make up for it tonight.
I've had my fair share. Keep in mind, we've been coming here since 2007, folks, so 18 years. This might actually be the 19th year that we've been here. And in my younger days, had my fun. Now I was in bed by 9:55 last night, so the concert was still going strong. Wore myself out on the links playing golf, but it was a lot of fun, and a lot of fun being had by this rider right here, looking like he just has found the flow. Throwback. Let's take it back about 8 years to when Walker Fowler won almost every single race in 2017.
Except for one. I don't know who got that one, but
some guy that's irrelevant today. Doesn't matter. But he is on a mission right now. But don't start giving away snowboards. Let's not just say, oh, this is the run for 6 just yet, because Wyatt Wilkin, Jay Shadron, Stephen Harrell, Bryson Neal, Jared McClure, Hunter Hart, and the rest are giving chase. Josh Merritt with the big jump up in our last camera shot there, and there is Wilkin. You can see he's got some tape running from those fenders down to his Nerf bars, trying to keep a little bit of extra mud from flying up. Everything he's thrown at it, we'll see if OPAG can give us an update on what that gap was. Around 30 seconds is what we were told last.
Yeah, it was 30, then it grew a little bit to about 39 seconds. We'll wait and get the update for you here on what exactly it is when they made their way through. Now, here comes our third place making their way. Who's it going to be this time around?
It is old headlights. You can't see them shining there, but it's dark enough in the woods. You'd think they might be a bit of an advantage for Jay Shadron on that number 18 machine. Then it is Josh Merritt now up to the number 4 spot. So as it runs right now, Wyatt Wilkin has enough of a gap, I can tell by looking, on Jay Shadron to maintain that number 2 spot. Hunter Hart making some moves now up to the number 5 spot, but getting a little squirrely there, and Bryson Neal making a charge. He's gotten around Stephen Harrell, so a very impressive lap 1 for Stephen Harrell, but he's latched on to the guy you kind of want to pace here today. Bryson Neal, you know he's going to do everything he can to go to the front, but so much further up the mountain already is this man here, and it looks like he's going to come in for some fresh Scott goggles, that IMS dump can, putting some fuel in there, and he's getting the word, hey, bud, whatever you're doing, it's working, because you've got a gap. He is going to be out of the pits before anybody else even enters this camera shot.
Holy smokes, how about that? So a pair of freshies for Walker Fowler back into the woods, and we wait on the rest of the pack to enter the pit stop area. I heard you guys mention, and I saw it too, and I don't know if it was just some hesitation by Bryson Neal, but looking down at the machine at Howard's Hole, that could just be something that was going on at Howard's Hole, so it'd be interesting to see. Didn't look like the Phoenix Racing Yamaha pits prepared for anything additional outside of a fuel stop.
Mikey, one thing I will say here, up here on Snowshoe Mountain, we talked a little bit earlier when we did the track description, had some different camera shots showing all the different elements of this racetrack. You'll never hear noises and feel things like you feel on Snowshoe Mountain. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Throwaway machines here for our top XC1 riders. Not literally, but so many parts need to be swapped. Most of these things will be practice bikes after this weekend, because they're not going to take them to another GNCC. They are just absolutely abusing these machines, but it's finding that fine line of abusing it to go fast, but keep getting it to the finish line without major setback. Here's your third place rider on screen, Jay Shadron. You can see the family stepping in, the crew stepping in, Mike Daughtry there. And now Josh Merritt, kind of a parallel pit there, wanting to pit in that same spot, and maybe trying to let Jay Shadron know that he is there. Again, fresh goggles, and jumping ahead to Wyatt Wilkin on that number 3 machine. Former podium finisher here in a solid podium spot there in the number 2 spot. Charging everything he's got. Looking at it here, I can be criticized for this. Walker Fowler's a good friend of mine, but whoever wins this race today, I'm a big fan because this is a tough one. But right now, the flow that he has, I just think that these guys are going to have to find something special. Oh, look at that. There goes a marker for the slope just flying off the side because Wyatt Wilkin opting to pass that rider on the outside. The rider thinking he was inside. You can see the speed differential between these two.
Holy
so
smokes.
fast. That could have gone sideways so quickly, but Wyatt Wilkin never lifted.
Yeah, Wyatt going to the outside there on one of these roads. He was on the ski slope side too, Mikey, so it was a long way down where he was at.
Point.
He barely escaped from that one, as Johnny said, knocking off one of the markers as he made his way by.
As he finally takes a breath as he heads into the woods there, that was gnarly.
That's a day ender right there. I mean, I've been there. But Wyatt Wilkin now coming out just 2 more corners. Walker Fowler has checked in with 2 laps complete. First lap time was a 28:02. The second lap time for Walker Fowler, he's
checking in now.
Oh, something developed there. Unless that camera shot is deceiving. Maybe we're looking at 2 different camera shots there. Okay, there we go. 27:11. So actually about 50 seconds faster that lap. So they have really ratcheted up the pace. And checking in the number 2 spot, we believe it will be Wyatt Wilkin, still not checked in. So definitely 2 different camera shots there. Apologize for the confusion. That was on me. And we are watching Walker Fowler around the top of one of our, I believe that's the Ball Hooter lift. Yep. They've all got some pretty cool names here. Great little spot to hang out and watch some racing action if you're the fans there at the top of that lift. And we do have on the east side of the mountain our lift running. We'll transport you down to, let's call it Howard's Hole adjacent, because you still have about a 10 to 15 minute hike to get back in there to Howard's Hole. Walker Fowler on rails, pushing the pace, and as now we see Wyatt Wilkin has checked in 40.1 seconds behind. Looking at the elapsed, a little bit different. We've got about a 7-second time advantage that is not showing up on our time behind. It's only showing up in the elapsed, so we have to do some math here. Looks like it is about 32 seconds is the gap. So it's 40 seconds, give or take, on the actual physical gap between them, but Wyatt being credited about 7.5 seconds starting on row number 2, so it's about 32 seconds behind that he is.
Yeah, so that gap there going to be somewhere just under 8 seconds there between those rows as they got started off. Very different than what we're used to. There's always a split in the rows, but as we start with 5 riders per row, it really makes things a little more complicated here at Snowshoe.
Man, could you hear those machines revving on the starting line? It was guys that were on row 10 were revved up to 10,500 RPMs where they most likely have those rev limiters set, and they just wanted to let everybody on the mountain know that they're ready to go Snowshoe GNCC racing. It was exciting. Electricity in the air here today.
Yeah, it's enough. Triple J was up there hanging out with us, and it was enough to give him cold chills. Walker Fowler on the move, still looking smooth.
Looking smooth, looking comfortable, looking like the Walker Fowler of old that, frankly, he did grab a win earlier this year. We've seen some good rides out of him, for sure. Sitting in that number 2 spot in points, but when we talk about points, I mean, we cannot take anything away from the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal, with a massive 59-point lead, it looks like. 61-point lead. Yeah, 61 points is the lead, so he has a 2-race lead with a point to spare. I mean, he could go park it in the truck and still leave here with a 31-point point advantage, even if Walker Fowler grabs a win. Second place rider on screen, Wyatt Wilkin, charging hard on that Stewart Brothers racing machine, pushing the pace and in pursuit of the leader, Walker Fowler.
Hey, going back to the points, there might be 61 points that separate Neal and Fowler here, but there's only going to be 4 points between Hunter Hart, your 3rd spot in points, and your 2nd there for Fowler. Even with Fowler not scoring any points there around number 6, he's just barely going to be ahead of Hunter Hart. That's what's really hurt him there, was that round number 6. Hunter Hart, today could be a big day for him on points if he's able to get somehow, some way up to that top spot.
Let's talk about this guy right here that we just saw on screen, Jay Shadron, running in the number 3 spot, as he did check in, sitting in that number 3 spot with a gap of about 31 seconds behind Wyatt Wilkin and a gap of about 18 seconds over Josh Merritt in the number 4 spot. Jay Shadron, absolute renaissance season for him. If you follow along with Racer TV, if you follow along with GNCC, you know this man has been through some hardships that you really can't even explain, with injuries both on and off the track, many of which were thought at the time at least to be career-ending. Here he is, fast forward 18 months to 2 years, back on the box 3 weeks ago. I mean, I get chills every time I think about it.
100%. And what's interesting about that, we've spoke about this before, the similarities in the injuries that he and Walker Fowler have both experienced. I think there was maybe a little more widespread attention on Walker Fowler just because the championships, the wins. But J-Shad has been through hand injuries, the legs, just everything under the sun. And for him to come back and do what he's done is incredible. And in that same sentence, you got Walker Fowler leading this race. Both men, at one time, we were questioning whether or not they'd come back at all.
Well, rewind back to 2023. Walker Fowler, first race back after missing the first 8 rounds of 2023, with that back injury, and spending that entire time in a clamshell up until just weeks before this Snowshoe GNCC. A lot of people saying, hey man, why are you doing this? Coming out and for a while running inside the top 3 overall and showing that he still had the grit. Here we are, 2 years later to the day, out front leading the way in this one. And Fowler, definitely a resilient and determined athlete. There is your 4th place rider on screen, Josh Merritt, another rider I know who outright said, hey man, a podium here today would be great, but how cool would it be to make this Merritt Mountain? He now has some company from behind in the form of the number 6 and last round winner, Hunter Hart, sitting in that number 5 spot. There is Harrell in 6th. Just behind him, we expect to see the big number 1, the Bidwell Bullet of Bryson Neal, making easy work of Howard's Hole, carrying his speed through there. And you can see, again, the line options. Some of these guys opting for the more direct line, some taking a little bit, we won't say easier, but safer line around, less chance of getting hung up.
This is just a sight on the national level. If you're into stick and ball sports, motorsports, period, this is something. I know it's been featured on Barstool Sports. There is a Barstool GNCC, but the Barstool Sports page.
Look at this.
Featured Howard
Adam McGill having a conversation with the crowd. They're dumping some water with some hops and barley in it.
I believe that is barley water.
Over
barley
top
hops.
of his head. And that is a very direct, very fast line through there for Adam McGill. Looking like he did make a few passes, may have gotten himself back around Jared McClure. And there is McClure there, rounding out the top 10. And again, taking a little refreshment as he comes through Howard's Hole. You got to entertain the fans, man. These guys and gals down there absolutely having the time of their lives, but they are covered in mud from head to toe. Mikey, I know you had your Howard's Hole experience a few years ago.
That rider opting to grab some rehydration.
Hey, speaking of the Howard's Hole experience, our very own Zach Cairns headed that way, guys. It shouldn't be much longer, and we'll be getting to hear from him.
Well, I don't know if we'll hear him. we will see him, and we'll hear some noises. We may be able to make out a few audible sentences that he puts together. It is just so loud down there. The energy is off the charts.
And it's one of those things, it makes me laugh. I always think of the heyday of NASCAR in the 80s and the 90s, and you had a rider, and this was really his name, Dick Trickle, who was smoking a cigarette in the car.
Oh, yeah.
Our riders aren't smoking a ciggy on the track. Well, maybe Todd Muscala, the Marlboro man, pulls off it and has one, pulls a dart, but the stuff is still alive. This is grassroots racing at its best right here. And if you don't like something like this, Johnny, you had to race through it. That's a different story altogether. But from a spectator's standpoint, this is about as cool as it gets.
It's cool from a race standpoint. I mean, the energy down there, you can feel it even as a racer, but it's very, very nerve-wracking.
Oh, absolutely.
There's nowhere else in GNCC racing, nowhere else in motorsports racing, ATV and motorcycle at least, where it gets this, let's say, interactive.
Yeah.
And that is, I think, a big part of what does draw all these fans down there. There we see Alex Tiemann, who has taken over the lead in that XC2 Pro-Am class, and then being pushed backwards. Braxton Gross trying to make the pass, trying to get around Alex Tiemann. Is Tiemann still there? We don't know. That may have been a pass, or at least it is.
It is, yeah.
Braxton Gross getting around and taking over the lead. Alex Tiemann, so obviously we've got a stuck rider. Don't know if that is a lapped rider or potentially one of our XC1 riders, but either way, Tiemann now having to charge from behind to try to track down the California kid. Braxton Gross, he has taken over the lead. Those two starting on the same row. No time correction. They were side by side, sitting on that starting row. A lot of camaraderie between them, but you absolutely know that each one of those guys wanting to grab the win here today. That looked possibly John Glaude Jr. Looked like it was there, and he took a little extra time. The crowd trying to coerce him. Hey, this is the way. This is the way. And as the immortal Dave Simmons, one of the toughest GNCC riders in history, said, look for the spectators in mud fleas that don't have an adult beverage in their hand. Those are the ones that you want to listen to. But at Howard's Hole, you got to just take the information any way you can get it. And it looks like maybe that rider's still stuck there way up the mountain, all the way over now, crossing over to the west side of the mountain. We haven't really talked a lot about this, but there is a massive difference between the east and west side of the mountain here in Snowshoe. Different climates on either side. The elevation here, 48, really throws a mix into the vegetation is different on opposite sides of the mountain. Walker Fowler currently the only of the top riders that has crossed over to the west side of the mountain. So he's kind of, this is the easier question mark side of the mountain. You don't have Howard's Hole. You don't have as much of that fast. It's kind of more of a traditional GNCC, or at least old school GNCC, Blackwater-esque, if you will, over on the west side. The east side is just that crazy mix of gnarly, and then you jump right out of that, and you've got 3-4 minutes of just fourth gear, third gear, fifth gear even, just absolutely shredding, trying to get to the next section of debauchery and chaos.
Yeah, something else. It's like two completely different tracks. And man, Walker Fowler absolutely looks flawless here just over the halfway point.
See if we can get our producer Adam Gordon or some of the gents in the control room to get us a gap there. As we see now at the 5 mile marker, here is your second place rider on screen, Wyatt Wilkin, making it look effortless.
Yeah, and just the way that those machines react there, you get a glimpse at how steep some of these hills are. Of course, the cameras, as always, not quite showing how extreme some of these drop-offs might be and how big some of the climbs might be that these riders are having to go up as well.
What was the gap between Wilkin and Shadron when they checked in?
When they checked in, it was 31 seconds. Okay. And there is Shadron on cue coming through.
Ballpark still.
Yeah, Wilkin was 32 behind Fowler, and then 31 from Wilkin to Shadron.
Yep, so we got, that actually has been corrected. So they have updated timing and scoring to include the time gaps because we saw it was 40 seconds.
Nice. Okay.
They went ahead and adjusted that. There is your fourth place rider on screen on the number 4 machine, backed by Action Off-Road, Fly Racing, and a host of other people making that program work for him. He is sitting there in the number 4 spot within sight of Jay Shadron for that final podium position, and they are now starting to stretch it out over Hunter Hart, Stephen Harrell, and Bryson Neal. Looks like Hunter, oh look at this, Harrell has made a pass. He has gotten around Hunter Hart there on screen, and that means that he is now up to that 5th place position, and just like that, Hunter Hart, nope, did not make the pass. Looked like he was going to a split line section there. But Bryson Neal was in touch with these guys just a couple camera shots ago, looking like he has lost the toe. And Harrell was behind Bryson, if we remember, a couple camera shots ago. Unless we miss the number 1, the Bidwell Bullet, he has given up some more time. I think this may be him here, and it is.
So I believe this is going to be the farthest we've saw Neal down all year long.
Yeah, we've seen him sitting back there in what would be the number 7 spot, just ahead of Adam McGill in 8th. Brandon Owens there rounding out the top 10, and McClure there. So there is, look at that, McGill right behind now. He can see Bryson Neal up ahead of him. So you got to know McGill is going to charge and try and get every position he can to try to get himself in a position. Now we see Jared McClure coming by here at the 5 mile marker to battle for the title of the King of the Mountain here, not only this weekend, but overall. If he is able to pull that Gator magic out and grab the win here today, that would tie him with Walker Fowler for the King of the Mountain here with 5 wins. And then I think you have a legitimate conversation about who really is the king of this mountain.
Yes,
because if you're tied at the top,
it's true.
You know, the fanfare is one thing, but the record book speaks for itself. If McGill can get it done here today, it would be a real resurgence for him.
Yeah, no doubt about it, but that man on screen right there is trying to put a stop to all the chatter. He wants to make this mountain his, no doubt about it. Walker Fowler with a huge lead has made his way by here at our mile 6 camera marker.
All right, we'll see if we can get a shot of Wyatt Wilkin. It was 1:08:20 when Walker Fowler disappeared from that camera shot. If we follow Wyatt Wilkin through just like we did Walker Fowler, we'll be able to tell you what that gap is, keeping in mind we'll call it 8 seconds. It's 7.5, 8 seconds is what. And don't think that half a second may not loom large. We'll use 8 seconds just because it's easier to do math, and none of us are math majors here. But you do know that half second could loom large.
Got it.
Still waiting and watching. We are now at 45, 46, 47. 48, and this looks to be Wilkin coming, so the gap has opened up more. 52 seconds, 53. Looks like we are going to be coming dangerously close to a 1 minute gap. 16, 17, 18, 19, 59 seconds, so about a 51-second advantage, which has grown from 32 at the finish line. So Walker Fowler stretching it out about another 19 seconds, and this is where this can happen. You can see these guys are good riders. They're some of the best in their regional series, but that is Jay Shadron there in the second rider on screen. Nowhere for that rider in front of him to go without riding off the side of the mountain. And then there is Merritt, both of those being held up or paced by lapped riders as they come through this downhill rocky fast section here at the 6 mile marker. Whew. This one's heating up, boys.
It is. It sure is. Merritt off to a good run here, looking for a podium finish. Jay Shadron just ahead of him. I believe those two are going to be the next riders we see in a battle there from Shadron and Merritt.
All right, guys. I'll give, I think we're soon going to be getting our man, Zach Herron, here down at Howard's Hole, but let's give a quick top 20 rundown. Keep an eye on the screen. Looks like that may, in fact, be it is Hunter Hart. So he now did make the pass stick on Stephen Harrell, was able to get around, and that is your 5th and 6th place. I am told that I do believe we have Zach Herron. If we can cut to that. Zach, you're down at Howard's Hole, and how are things going down there, my friend?
Good.
Zach, can you hear us? All right, Zach Herron not having audio.
We're going to try to break in here. Not sure if you're with us yet or not, but we are live here from Howard's Hole. It never ceases to amaze me. This is GNCC Racing Nation at its finest, the birthplace of the mud flea. Now, it's incredible. Don't get me wrong. We got mud wrestling. We got beads flying. We got mostly good behavior down here, but this is turning into a win or lose spot in the race. We've already seen team members. You can kind of see the lines developing behind me. They're actually coordinating with some of our mud fleas, asking which direction is better. Sometimes they believe the mud fleas, sometimes they don't. Right now, it seems like this hotline is coming back across. Riders were using it, they said, a little bit earlier in the race, moved away from it, and now the race line has changed back to the original line. So it just shows that things are developing and changing down here, all while having a great time. We'll check back in later here from Howard's Hole.
Thank you for that, Zach. So there we go, a first-hand glimpse of how it feels to be down there at the hole. Man, if you're not here on site with us, you're missing out. This is quite the spectacle down there at Howard's Hole. We're going to see if it's going to play into our actual race here today or not.
Yeah, I mean, it already has in a way. We saw some position shakeups and a whole bunch of time gained and lost already here in Howard's Hole. A lot of activities down there, and I think, unfortunately, I do not think we have audio with Zach Herron, but what I would like to ask him, he talked about the beads flying. He had some around his neck.
How did he earn those?
Wonder what he had to do to earn those beads.
Question.
Most likely had to maybe do a belly flop into the mud. Mikey Waynes, I know you had a brand new hat a few years ago there, and
I had a nice GBC hat courtesy of Johnny Gallagher, and I was. They said I looked too pretty down at Howard's Hole, so the first thing they did was baptize the hat.
There you go, dip it in the mud, baptized by the mountain.
The mud, blood, and the beer of Howard's Hole.
That's it.
Hey man, it's a good time down there. Everybody getting excited now. Having a quick pause in the action here as we wait for our next rider to make their way around.
You know, one of the early taglines for GNCC and specifically the Blackwater was mud, guts, and glory.
Yep.
And I don't know a more fitting tagline for the Snowshoe GNCC. We see the mud. All these guys have guts, the way they're hanging it out and absolutely flying. And the glory of being the first one to pop out of that final section and be able to fist pump your way up like these guys are here. You can see they are cheering. Most likely they're saying, "Let's go Gator, let's go Gator." They know he needs to get on the move if he wants to track down the big number 2 out front of Walker Fowler. But the glory is crossing that finish line first, and we're going to see who does that here in just a matter of a few more laps of racing.
Well, getting down to the nitty-gritty, we are over the halfway point, the iconic Howard's Hole. It can make or break your race, as we have already seen here today, as riders taking a break there and say, I don't need a beer, I need a line through Howard's Hole, help a man out. And it has just been absolute chaos. But, man, the guy who is making it happen has been Walker Fowler, the 7-2-3. Turning back the clock, we got retro Walker Fowler out in front. He was into the pits and out of the pits before the rest of the XC1 class made their way in. But Jay Shad having a day, Wyatt Wilkin having a day. How is this one going to shape up? We'll be right back here in just a moment.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
The Blackwater 50-year reunion celebration is coming to Davis, West Virginia on Monday, June 23rd. Here's your chance to line up on the iconic Main Street of Davis for an epic photo and video opportunity with the Blackwater film crew. Then after the lineup and photos are taken, we will meet at the Riverfront Park for food and drinks from our friends at Siriana's Cafe. Join us on Monday, June 23rd after the Snowshoe GNCC in Davis, West Virginia.
You hear that? That's new stuff. It's going to be 90 minutes of non-stop fun.
Out here, High Point, stay in the dirt, baby. We're gonna get after it.
How was the day in the dirt, all right?
Red Bull Day in the Dirt out east is returning to High Point August 29th through the 31st. That's Labor Day weekend at High Point. You know what that means? It means fun. It means dirt bikes. It means hanging out bench racing with your pals. So come join us. Red Bull Day in the Dirt. We'll see you there.
Got to give a shout out to our buddy Kevin Kelly on the voice over there. What's up, Kevin? Miss you. See you soon. Stay sick racing. If you are under the age of 5, this is the main event of a GNCC, and why not pay tribute to the Blackwater 100 on the Stay Sick side? Starting in the village on the, what do you call that, the pavers?
Yeah.
And, yeah, this is just, this is where it's at. Griffin, the crew did a good job. They had a pretty awesome course out there for them, too.
A very long course. It was a marathon.
That guy forgot his shirt.
Even getting some wood sections here. And when Mikey says 5 and under, he means everything from 5 all the way to newborns out there.
Yeah,
we do have a 2 and under class that was racing. That's what we're seeing right here is that 2 and under.
Yeah, a little doggy paddling right there. You got it, kiddos.
I'm not sure if you're aware, they actually have a bigger Stasic now for the parents. They hold 2 batteries. Who knows? We might even get on the Stasic EPW action ourselves.
I like it. Ricky Towery, the hardest working man in GNCC.
And for anybody that hasn't been to one of these, maybe you have a young one that has a Stasic race. It is free for anybody 5 and under, I believe it is, the age gaps.
And a helmet.
Yep, and it's free to enter. Come on out. When you're at one of our GNCC races, come EPW Stasic racing with the crew.
Very, very cool stuff. Roll out the red carpet.
And for those watching at home, we last saw these riders at the 6-mile marker. Here we are at the 10, and you're wondering, well, why don't we have more camera shots? Well, it may only be a couple hundred yards as a crow flies, but it's a country mile plus about 4,000 feet of elevation. Maybe not 4,000, but 2,000 feet of elevation down to the rest of the track. Impossible to broadcast that signal up here from down there.
Very difficult.
And really challenging to get there. If you've ever been over there, a lot of it has to be hiked. You can't bike it. You can't ride it, at least not while the race is going on. So we've got some camera shots, and it looks like we've got the big number 2 of Walker Fowler 1:18.13 coming through. Let's call it 1:18.15 as he starts up the slope there, because that's a little easier to do math on. 10 miles in, Walker Fowler on rails, pushing the pace, doing all that he can do to continue to try to open up what we last saw, about a 50-second gap, even after 51 seconds after time correction at our last camera shot at the 6-mile marker. We'll wait, we'll watch, and we'll see what is the gap back. Is it still Wyatt Wilkin in the number 2 spot? Has Jay Shadron or Josh Merritt been able to bridge that gap and engage themselves in a battle with Wilkin for that number 2 spot? And then the group behind them of Harrell and Hart is just an absolute barn burner right now. Bryson Neal dropping a little bit of pace and dropping about 20 seconds behind Hunter Hart as we last saw them on screen there.
So now at 45 seconds behind, the clock still continuing to tick here. Here we go.
It's going to be close to just under that minute. So Wilkin making up a little bit of ground, making up about 2-3 seconds there. So bringing it back down under that 50-second mark, which at scoring last time around it was 32. So Fowler's still the advantage on this lap, but in the last 4 miles of racing, flash ahead here to about a mile further down the racetrack, and there is Walker Fowler charging up that power line hill climb. You can see that machine just dancing underneath him. He's hitting his marks, carrying speed, and just driving forward. Front wheels in the air. That is a very, very, very steep climb, Jackson. Deceiving, to say the least. It looks like he's just cruising up that. We've seen in years where that hill climb is a little slicker, or if you have a lap rider in front of you, you can be slower than walking pace up that. So that shows you how Walker Fowler is riding and how he's been able to open up this now near 50-second gap. We've actually seen it up higher than that, but Wyatt Wilkin scraping back a few valuable seconds, keeping himself in the running here on this one.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's how he's gaining so much time out there. Sections like that, hop skipping and doubling his way up through that hill. Really able to see how rough this track is getting. Like Johnny's saying, these are hill climbs. You might not be able to tell here from some of these camera shots from our drone shot, but they're hill climbs. All of the racers that have been out there, that have been out on this course, they've been eating away at it, and it is starting to get rough up through some of those sections.
Yeah, starting to get rough. It started off rough. Yeah. It's getting rougher and rougher as we look at our running order there on the left side of the screen. Walker Fowler still leading this one. Wyatt Wilkin, we did see him there still in the number 2 spot. We did not catch a glimpse of Jay Shadron. We think he is lurking just behind Wyatt Wilkin. It was about 30 seconds last we saw them on screen. Fowler up on 2 wheels there. And that may be Wyatt Wilkin coming the other way, entering into the Pro Pit area. I believe it was the Yamaha Racing live drone giving us some great footage here as Walker Fowler now charges way down. He's going to hit some pavement and make haste to try to continue to stretch out that gap over the rider behind him, Wyatt Wilkin in the number 2 spot.
Speaking of Wyatt Wilkin, when we spoke with him in that Yamaha pre-race report, as Walker Fowler buzzing through,
towel, and
was that a towel or a high five?
No, that was a towel. He's as soon as you see one of the top riders doing that, they're having a hard time holding on, wanting to get a paper towel, or in some cases like a microfiber or a fabric towel to wrap around the grip. Those grips do get very, very slippery, and we did see Wyatt Wilkin not opting for either the elephant ears, which Hunter Hart runs, which essentially are just big extended handguards, or Walker Fowler with the full-on gauntlets that cover everything on the handlebars where your hands go, so it keeps your hands nice and dry, or in some days warm. Today, not really a concern, but helping him to maintain a consistent grip on those handlebars and keep him in touch with that machine. There is the 3rd place ride of Jay Shadron on the number 18 machine, and flash ahead, Walker Fowler charging back up the mountain.
Fowler is absolutely flying. He is looking very comfortable. Going off the pavement just a few corners ago, he never let off whatsoever as he swapped from pavement back over to the dirt there. He is on the move.
Looking at our race clock, an hour and 22 minutes of racing action already in, and still about another 45 seconds to a minute. I'm thinking we are going to see a 2-lap board, I believe. We did have 5 laps in our morning race. Reason for that, a much shorter course. They do not have nearly as many of the challenging obstacles. That is a lap rider coming through there, so don't know if we have yet seen Hunter Hart and Stephen Harrell, or if Josh Merritt and Jay Shadron have opened up that gap even further. Hard to tell. That rider there, looking like that may be a muddy rider on an ATV. Lap rider coming through there. fighting for positions in their own right. And now back to the Yamaha Racing Live drone. He has checked in now. Nope, this is coming up to check in. No, this is already checked in. He's headed for that ball hooter lift. So 3 laps complete for Walker Fowler. A little bit slower that time. We saw a 27-something teen this lap, about 30 seconds slower with a 27.49. So that may open up the potential for Wyatt Wilkin to make up some gap here. We'll see what it is when he checks in. 1 hour, 23 minutes, 3 seconds for 3 laps complete for Walker Fowler. And we expect any moment now to see the big number 3, that Dale Earnhardt 3 of Wyatt Wilkin checking in the number 2 spot.
Back to my point on Wyatt, since he's on subject, he had the 7th place finish in the last round where he was fighting for that win, and you can't call it a mistake, the line that he chose. That's just the way it goes. But he mentioned after that, he ran out of fuel. He had to get refueled. He had to end up stopping at the pits afterward. And he's like, I got sick of looking at all the lessons I needed to learn from that race. And he said he hit the reset button on a lot of things, and he kind of held some of those close to his chest as well, as far as the changes he wanted to make coming into the Snowshoe GNCC. So what all of those changes were, not 100% sure, but it looks like he has put those into play here.
Yeah, he had himself in the position he needed to be in, and you can't really blame a guy. He was going for the win. There was just a few miles left. He took what had been the main line all day, and Hunter Hart, Bryson Neal, and Jay Shadron all taking the gamble. There was a sign there that said, I believe, much, much, much longer, but it was a safer route. Wyatt, when he did get there was a lap rider stuck in front of him. It held him up just enough, and then he himself kind of got hung up there for a moment, dropping him again all the way back. Actually not dropping him back to 7th place, but we heard after the race he actually lost his tether cord at a later point. I think he came out still well inside the top 5, battling for a podium position, but once he lost that tether cord, it just really stalled out his momentum. All the momentum right now, though, is in that man's hands. Walker Fowler with the lead of 58 seconds is what the lead is with the elapsed time, so 51 seconds on corrected time. That is, it has not updated in the actual time behind, but in the elapsed time, 1:23:03 for Walker Fowler and 1:23:54. So 51 seconds is the lead for Walker Fowler. 32 seconds a lap ago. I believe lap 1, it was in the 30-second-ish range or just under. So he's continuing to kind of stretch that out little by little, consistently just putting a few seconds per lap on the riders behind him.
And as he went through this shot here, we saw the fist pumping in the air as we see Wyatt Wilkin move through this section. Walker Fowler having fun on an ATV right now.
It's a dangerous proposition.
A dangerous thing, man.
And a big shakeup here as far as Bryson Neal goes. Like I said earlier, this is the farthest we saw him down all season. And to be exact, Bryson's not been off the podium all year.
He's been off the box.
His worst race was round 8 there, and that was a 3rd place. Right now, last time we saw Johnny, he was sitting back into the 8th place position.
He has still not checked in. Adam McGill has checked in that 7th place spot. And to me, it's not the fact that he's sitting in 8th. It's how far he is now from a podium. Because Jay Shadron, holding on to that final podium position, has a gap of 3 seconds over Josh Merritt, then 54 seconds back to Harrell, another 5 back to Hunter Hart, and another 40 back to McGill. Now McClure has checked in and still no Bryson Neal. So Bryson Neal more than a minute off of even potentially battling for a podium position right now.
Yeah, that is very wild for Bryson Neal, and it's not like he doesn't know his way around the Snowshoe course. He was the 2024 winner here. So Neal,
and 2023 as well.
Yeah, 2-time back-to-back winner here of this Snowshoe GNCC. Might be hard to remember with all the hype that was going on between Fowler and McGill, them two going at it. McGill going at it all week long. Bryson Neal, not quite getting as much into the fight here leading up to this one. So, yeah, mind-blowing to me to see him outside of that top 5.
Well, Bryson Neal sitting there on the starting line when the show was going on down in turn 1. Adam McGill rides down there with his crown.
WWE pre-show.
Puts the princess tiara on Walker Fowler and says, hey, I'm the king of the mountain. You can be my princess. Essentially, it was pink. It was fluffy. That was the show. Bryson Neal sitting on the starting line just smiling. And I said, Bryson, you don't want to ride down there, throw your hat in the ring on that one? He just laughed and said, those kids can have at it. I said, Bryson, they're both older than you, And he said, hey, I'm here. I got a job to do. He said, I'm having fun. Baby. I love this. I'm glad they're hyping up the crowd. He said, but I'm going to go out there and take care of business. Right now, though, Walker Fowler taking care of business, and even Adam McGill still ahead. Here is Jay Shadron. Actually, looked like they were picking that machine up to turn it to help him decide which line to take here through Howard's Hole. That is your third-place rider on screen.
And you know, for these riders, as they make their way through, it has to be so frustrating seeing some of the mud fleas touching the riders, hitting on the riders. I can only imagine all that happens that we don't see on cameras. There, Merritt comes into it with another rider, going to rear end one of those riders, one of our amateur riders. But yeah, you can only imagine. We saw it in years past, such as some of the other riders, some of our top riders having stuff like goggles pulled off down at Howard's Hole. I'm sure that's very, very aggravating for some of our top riders.
You know, it's one of those things. I attribute Howard's Hole to me finally realizing I had made the right decision to retire from racing. My last year had a couple of run-ins there with some spectators, and I was so grumpy after the race about it. Frankly, I'm old. I didn't need to be in that position anymore. You get old, get off my lawn, get out of my line. But these guys, a big part of GNCC racing, and you know coming into it what you're going to face. These guys kind of take it all in stride and understand that these fans, you know, paying their gate fee to come up the mountain, getting down in there and being a part of the action, they look forward to this all year, and it is a huge part of GNCC racing.
Spectators is a huge thing. Every sport needs that. But we come to places like Snowshoe, we come to places like Ironman. I forget that we have some passive fans out there that come for just an event. They don't necessarily follow the whole series. So they don't have, I guess, maybe sometimes the full understanding for what's at stake for some of these riders. They're here for the party. And while we need those fans, sometimes it can kind of get in the way of progress for a rider.
Yeah, Ironman Raceway, definitely one of those, but I have to imagine this is the biggest one for that.
Right here,
as far as fans just showing up just to come and hang out, just to come have a good time, I would say this one's going to take the cake.
Definitely the Howard's Hole section, at least, if not in its entirety. It's difficult to tell how many people are up here on the mountain. We'd have to get those numbers, but I'm going to say a bajillion. That's what it feels like.
It's bananas.
You try to get your order at Starbucks, they tell you can pick it up next Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Speaking of which, I have a drink to pick up at 7:15 tonight for Thursday. No, that's not a shout-out. They do a good job.
Here we go, boys.
Walker Fowler looking like that is him on screen. And again, you can see the kicks, those machines, but he's not lifting. It's like he is on a mission. He is one with the machine and becoming one with the mountain, which he hopes at the end of this. Tim Cotter saying on the starting line, whoever wins this race, there is no more debate. It is their mountain until next year at the end of the race. The governor himself, actually, we are told that Donald Trump came and said, hey, this is how this is going to go. Our president of the United States, POTUS, saying that the winner of the race today gets to claim the title of the mountain.
Well, let's not be
the best mountain.
Let's not be crazy. He wasn't here. He just called in.
Just called in. It was a 202 number. It was exciting. We had some very high-ranking government officials. Tell you what, folks, I raced four-wheelers for a while, and when you see somebody in the zone, you know it. Walker Fowler's in the zone right now. You see him standing up, putting the traction to the ground on that WFR racing-backed machine, and he is pushing the pace, continuing to stretch out that lead. 51 seconds, give or take, 51 seconds is what that gap is, and that is pretty exciting.
Yeah, we saw Fowler a few camera shots ago give a nod of the head to the camera as he made his way by. Similar to what we see there from Neil when he locks in. I could say Walker Fowler clocking in here in this one.
One thing I am curious, we didn't actually see Walker Fowler come through the finish line. We did not see if Ricky Towery did have, I can't imagine he had anything. Oh, okay, so it is the white flag.
So one more lap left to go here in this one.
This one, it is going to run a little bit short because we're at 1 hour and 32 minutes, and with a projected leader doing in about 18 minutes, meaning it's going to be right at 150. That is considered a complete GNCC. They're very close on the time there, but we were thinking, or I was thinking at least, that it would be 2 more laps. So it is going to be a much shorter race than anticipated here today, but a welcome sight for this man if he can carry it through just about another 7 miles here. He is quickly clicking off mile markers and clicking off the laps, getting closer to a checkered flag in the hands of Ricky Tower, we are told by race control.
Looking at Bryson Neal, now outside of the top 10, sitting in 11th. You've got Braxton Gross and Alex Tiemann out of that XC2 class ahead of him in 9th and 10th. And Johnny, I mean, is there much to make of Bryson's performance today, or is it? I mean, at the end of the day, he's still in control of this point.
I think you could argue the momentum thing for sure. But Walker Fowler sitting in that number 1 spot, if he's able to maintain that gap and maintain that lead, 30 points for a win. Bryson Neal sitting in 11th would still earn, would be 10 points.
Yep.
So Walker would make up 20 points of a 61-point gap. So making up a third of your points gap in one race, that's a big move, but he would still be more than one race behind.
Yep.
41 points is what he would be behind if they do finish in the current running order. And with only 4 rounds remaining after break, Bryson Neal would remain very much in control, but man, we've seen crazier things happen.
True.
And all you can do if you're Walker Fowler is max points. And I think if you're in a position to be winning races, you don't ever really wish a bad day or anything like that on your competitors. You just want to win.
Yep.
So Walker Fowler at this point, even the last few weeks, has kind of said like, hey, this championship's starting to look like it may have sorted itself out. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm not quitting by any means, but it's not really in my control anymore. I just need to go out and win races, and the rest will take care of itself.
That's right.
And that's kind of the mindset coming into today, and it's translated into, I believe, one of the best Walker Fowler rides we've seen in recent memory.
I'm with you. Yeah, this has been absolutely sensational, and to be Neal's point,
look at that. Merritt now right almost to the rear wheels of Jay Shadron, which would be the battle over that final podium position, 3rd place overall.
And to your point, Johnny, you don't expect to see Bryson Neal have another race like this, but GNCC Racing, he could have a mechanical, something could happen.
Sure. I mean, 3 rounds ago, we didn't expect Walker Fowler to have a DNF. He was, had contact with another rider less than a half mile in to our round at Powerline Park in Ohio in St. Clairsville and scoring no points on the day. And that was huge in the points. I mean, that was a 30-point but a 30-point deficit that he amassed, just that simple little thing. Again, if they finish where they are, which we're not going to be surprised, folks, at all to see Bryson Neal put in a charge and make up some positions here. But if he doesn't, or even if he were to somehow slide even further back, right now it would be 41 points. If he has a bad race now and Walker Fowler's able to capitalize on that, we could be looking at an 11-point gap here in a couple more rounds. There is Harrell coming through, so that is your 5th place rider, and we will wait and watch as our shot pauses here to get a good look at that goggle strap on that lapped rider behind Stephen Harrell. A solid ride for Harrell, though, in the top 5. And, man, he looked really good on lap number 1. We are told on screen Wyatt Wilkin charging his way down the power line, and he's going to disappear into the thick woods of Snowshoe, West Virginia.
Guys, going back to this 2025 point chase, I've talked about it time and time again, but in 2024, we saw Fowler completely out of the running for the most part there. We didn't even know if he was going to line up to race. He turned things back around. It was a battle all the way down to the final race. I expect something similar here this year, as now the number 2 machine is on screen.
This really looks like Walker Fowler from a few years ago, riding with confidence, really just letting that machine float under him. And we will see here at the 6-mile marker what that gap is when they come through. Man, this one's really starting to shape up to be exciting, not only for the day, but again, maybe reinvigorating that points battle just a little bit. Not panic button time by any means for Bryson Neal, but you don't want to go into the summer break with your worst race of the year and have near 3 months to think about it.
And on the flip of that, I was just thinking about this as we watch Walker go through. You made mention, you guys kind of challenged Walker to, hey, watch the footage. Maybe you're not flowing like you did a few years ago. And I think from your opinion on that, he is today, certainly.
Sure.
Do you want to be Walker? Well, of course, this is a good problem to have. Let me preface it by saying that. But now Walker Fowler goes into summer break thinking, man, what if I had done that 4 or 5 rounds ago?
You don't do that. You don't do that. You take what you have to work with. As far as I know, I mean, there's a lot of developments in technology, but nobody's invented a time machine yet. You can't go back and undo what you've done. The best of the best have a way of learning from their mistakes, but also not dwelling on them. Walker Fowler, a number of rides this year, not indicative of what we expect to see from him. Big mistakes and weird times. Going into it even deeper, Mark and Walker can be upset with me for saying this, but tearing up clutches. He's never been hard on clutches. Tearing up things on the bike. He normally doesn't. Overheating the machine every single race. And watching video and seeing it, and I told him, so Walker, I sit in this booth for 2 hours every race and watch you do this. And I don't know who's riding the ATV this year, but it's not you, buddy. I said, you're dragging the clutch. You're riding so tense. You look like you're scared. And he said, I'm scared to lose. He said, I was a winner and a champion for so long.
Newer to Walker, honestly.
He always felt like he was in that fight, and Bryson's just been so dominant, and he's been, frankly, grasping at straws. Yeah. And he started riding different. He started trying to attack the track differently. And the biggest thing I can say is being the best version of yourself is better than being an imposter of somebody else. And this is, right now, what we're seeing on screen is very close to the best version we've ever seen of Walker Fowler. What will it mean for the race today? We won't know for another 6 miles. We won't know until the end of the season what it means, but today it means we're getting to see a pretty impressive performance.
You can teach an old dog new tricks. Walker Fowler leading it, looking like the Walker Fowler of 2017 that was perfect all but one race. Some guy named Johnny Gallagher taking one from him back in the day. But today it's all about Walker Fowler. A fist pump in the air. The man is having fun and trying to bring home win number 6 at Snowshoe of his career and claim the mountain for himself. We'll be right back with the conclusion of this race right after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Ready to rev up your race game? Look no further than Landers KTM, your ultimate trackside support. We offer top quality parts, gear, accessories, and more. Plus, enjoy free labor from our certified technicians to keep you on track. Join the passion with your local dealership right here to support all your racing needs. Our friendly staff is geared up and ready to take care of you. And don't miss out. Experience up to $500 savings on select KTM Stasics. Available in all sizes. So, what are you waiting for? Swing by Landers KTM today and let us fuel your racing dreams. Landers KTM, where your race begins.
Hey, and welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Well, hey, Progressive Insurance, the title sponsor of Grand National Cross Country Racing Series, could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. And, oh, yeah, camper and RV insurance. Do yourself a favor, visit Progressive.com or scan the QR code on Racer TV right now. Get yourself a quote and see if you can save some money on your RV and camper insurance. Well, last night we had EMTB racing, and why not start in the village here on Snowshoe Mountain as we continue to pay tribute to the Blackwater 100 and the evolution of racing with our EMTB racing By the way, Snowshoe Mountain, for those that don't know, they've got some incredible mountain biking trails out here. If that is your thing, come try them out. Some specifically for the e-bikes as well. So if that is your thing, come on out, give it a shot. Probably no better place, arguably, on the East Coast to do so. And the boys and ladies as well, out racing EMTB, putting on a display here on Snowshoe Mountain. Ricky Towery waving that checkered flag for our EMTB race. And that'll do it, I believe, for the summer, at least until after break. And how about that skyscape back there? The view of Snowshoe Mountains. Pretty good little backdrop when the wind is blowing and we can't quite get our backdrop up. Not a bad alternative.
Mikey, I think you and I, we've both been up on this mountain enough times that we're pretty honest about how we feel about the mountain in general. That said, and that's, we won't go into that. Sure, we don't want to harsh the vibe. That's it. But man, it's a beautiful place when you're up. Once you get here, adventured your way here, once you've kind of overcome all the challenges that are Snowshoe Mountain, not even as a racer, just as a spectator, commentator, as a human, man, this place is special. And the vibes up here really do. Once you're here, it's just such an enjoyable experience. Anyone who's a fan of motorsports, who's a fan of GNCC racing, put it on your bucket list. If you're home, we love having you watch us on Racer TV, but put this one on your bucket list. As soon as they announce the schedule for 2026, assuming Snowshoe back on the schedule, I don't know that we know that. I haven't
heard officially, but
I think that announcement may come in the next 48 hours, depending on if you are here on the mountain and you're listening to us. Everyone, well behaved tonight. If you do that, we'll have an opportunity to come back, perhaps. And if we do, put it on your schedule. Make your room accommodations because the mountain will sell out. I believe that, I don't even know the number. It's something insane, like 2,200 different rooms and houses. Many of those accommodating dozens and dozens of people. But there's thousands and thousands of people, bajillions actually, that have made the trek up here this weekend. Put it on your calendar. Make your accommodations, make your reservations early. Come enjoy Snowshoe Mountain with us. It's well worth the occasional expletive you may use on the way getting up here. It's true. The road's not the greatest, but hey, man, if you want to get away for unplugged and out of cell service for a while, come on up here. Join us on Snowshoe Mountain.
This is one. I'm a Flatlander from Indiana, so the last 2 hours of the drive to Snowshoe Mountain make me question why I do this. And then normally when I wake up here the next morning and things are still very, very quiet, and you look out and you see those Blue Ridge Mountains, that kind of does it and puts it in perspective, and then you realize, all right, this was pretty cool. This is worth it.
I've always,
remind me of that next year when I'm driving here cursing myself.
I've always felt that the best way to experience Snowshoe would be either be chauffeured here or even better yet, if we have any friends out there that own a helicopter that want to fly Mikey and I in next year, we would love that. We'd be, give you tons of shout out on Racer TV. Probably get you maybe dozens or tens of.
I've got some passes. I'll get you some tickets.
Here we see Walker Fowler on screen, charging his way now. Nothing really standing between him and the finish line, which will be a checkered flag waving. Really a kind of unassuming race course between here and there. Not that there isn't still challenges, but he's about 3/4 of the way back up the mountain on the easy side. All the hard stuff is already behind him. It's really just ski slopes and high-speed stuff from here to the finish. If he's able to keep this up, we are seeing the live real-time gap between him and the second-place rider, Wyatt Wilkin. We flash ahead now to the power line. Walker Fowler, we're going to borrow one from our man, Rodney Timlin, back in the day, on the ride that dreams are made of. Looking to add a 6th Snowshoe crown to his tally. 5 wins already here atop the mountain. Looking to make it 6 here today. A big celebration in the village tonight. I'm certain no matter who wins this race, but looking right now like it most likely will be the big number 2. The WFR Racing Yamaha of Walker Fowler, crushing the Snowshoe GNCC here today and adding another win to his tally.
Talk the talk, walk the walk. He has certainly done that. As Wyatt Wilkin, that number 3, still charging in that number 2 spot. Jay Shad trying to keep pace. So a solid ride, a ride of redemption today, I think, for Wyatt Wilkin as well, after the little, call it a mulligan in the last round. But man, Walker Fowler. This has been retro Fowler here today. He's got 5 Snowshoe wins under his belt, trying to make it 6 here today and stake his claim as Fowler Mountain. Somebody get that man a sign for Fowler Mountain.
I think I don't want to call it Fowler Mountain. If anybody who's traveled on 77,
oh, that's true.
There is a big Walker Mountain. Big Walker. I think if Walker wins this today, I think the sign needs to read Big Walker Mountain. And this is it, folks. We are now down to the final mile of racing action. Walker Fowler, thumbs up to the crew and saying, hey guys, I got this one. Thanks for all the help, but I'm going to take it from here.
Back into the woods, the number 2 goes. That is Walker Fowler. And those for keeping count on the history books, this would be, I believe, win number 79. So Walker Fowler knocking on the door of 80 career wins. Just what has it been, a couple of years ago now, or was it last year, tying Chris Borich and passing Chris Borich on that?
Last year he got the job done, They tied at 75. Walker Fowler, a few races later, getting 76, having since added 2 more. 78 wins is the win tally for Walker Fowler, now coming ever so closer to that crazy number of 80 wins.
The speed there putting perspective in that decline right there as he's back onto the pavement. And the fans letting him know, Walker Fowler letting the fans know as well. He may have even thrown out a high five right there.
At this point, this is just celebration mode. You can see thumb in the air.
Look at that.
The crowd's out there. He knows at this point, barring major catastrophe, he's done the work. He's done the job. He found what he's been looking for in a big, big way here atop Snowshoe Mountain. The man with the most wins on 4 wheels on this mountain. Look at that fist pump in the crowd, and he is enjoying this one. Mikey, I might leave you alone and just go celebrate with... No, I'm kidding. We'll call this. I'll see him later. I'm sure we can have dinner, but... folks, this one is definitely going to be special for this man.
Yeah, this one is going to be special. They're all special, but there's some that just kind of stand out to you. And I'm with you, Johnny. This really looked like when I first joined the GNCC ranks, and you knew Walker Fowler was going to win that day, unless he had some kind of mechanical or Johnny Gallagher decided to get his first career win. You just knew it was going to be
rained a lot that day.
It did rain a lot that day.
I was good in the mud.
But nonetheless, you just knew Walker Fowler was going to get the win today, and he was that man today. And the goatee didn't work out for him. I thought it would. Maybe the mustache is where it's at.
It's the mustache and the gold chain. We gave him a little bit of a hard time this past week with the gold chain. He said, hey, man, I'm trying to find a new version of myself. It's not about not liking who he is. It's that he hasn't liked the way he's been riding. He hasn't really been himself off the track even. A lot going on in his life. And guys, we don't have time to get into this too deep, but when you're a rider who wins as much as Walker Fowler has, when you're not winning, it's such a heartbreak. It's so hard to adjust to, but the quickest way to get back to normal, Mikey, just like this.
Do this right here. Be the first man to see Ricky Towery waving the checkered flag, and the checkered flag flies as Walker Fowler sends some roost into some spectators right there in an absolute celebration, and he's waving the flag. Oh, that was laying the hammer down.
No, that was sticking the flag in the ground. He waved it around, stuck the flag in, saying, this is Big Walker Mountain. 6 wins atop Snowshoe Mountain for this man right here. Man, look at him. A 7-time champion, now a 6-time Snowshoe winner. Mark Nauman says, buddy, blow that thing up. Like I told you, that was a throwaway machine. They will. That is now a practice bike, and you can see him celebrating. Hugs all around, and that machine took a beating today. Took a licking, kept on ticking. Walker Fowler win number 6 here atop Snowshoe Mountain.
And I do believe, I'm making this up right now, but I'm pretty sure if he won today, Mark Nauman promised to shave the beard into a mustache as well.
Not happening. I can tell you that right now. Mark Nauman, not a mustache guy. But, hey, man, if he wants to rock it, heck, I'll grow a mustache. You could see, it said crown me. Give me that. Adam McGill better hand over that crown, because I think this takes any debate out of whose mountain this is.
You might
Walker
be right.
Fowler owned this mountain today.
Hard to argue with that as Wyatt Wilkin checks in that number 2 spot. That should hold.
Yeah,
for Wyatt Wilkin. I don't think there was a...
No, Jay Shadron in the number 3 spot would need to be within 7 seconds of Walker Fowler. You can see the respect, the admiration between those two. Looking like now we may be looking at the battle over our final podium position. Looks like it may still, question mark? That looks to be Jay Shadron.
I think you're right. I'm looking with Johnny as if I'm going to be able to notice before Johnny.
These are some lapped riders coming through. We'll wait, we'll watch, we'll refresh. Only 2 riders checked in with 4 laps complete. Walker Fowler taking the win. The margin of victory, 1 minute, 11 seconds over Wyatt Wilkin. Wyatt Wilkin on that Stewart Brothers Racing Pierce Performance tuned Yamaha is able to take the number 2 spot. Now enough time has elapsed. It looks like we have our 3rd place rider, way too tall to be Josh Merritt. I think it is. It is Jay Shadron rounding out your top 3 overall and another podium. Folks, 3 weeks ago, we're celebrating with Jay Shadron. Welcome back to the podium. He says, hey man, you get a taste of it. You want more. 3 weeks later, podium number 2 right in a row for Jay Shadron coming in that number 3 spot. And that is a happy man there. You see his wife Sierra coming with the congratulatory hug. You see Jay Shad making headlights great again 2025. What better way to make headlights great again than 2 podiums in a row? And this man is back at the top of GNCC Racing after everything he's been through. Can't say enough about Jay Shadron, his resilience and his toughness.
Johnny, you talk about it all the time, the momentum. It means the world to these guys at any level, but specifically the pro level. And you have Jay Shadron now. He got that monkey off of his back a few weeks ago with the podium finish. He backs it up here on the mountain, arguably the toughest race of the year, with another podium, this time that 3rd place position. But you talk about a man with momentum heading into summer break. You can't help but mention Jay Shadron.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that he has momentum on his side right now. You know, Walker Fowler happy with the win. You know, Wyatt Wilkin happy with the podium. But I don't know that there's a happier man on Snowshoe Mountain right now than Jay Shadron with that 2nd consecutive podium. Josh Merritt coming through in the number 4 spot, just off of that overall podium. He has checked in now 1 minute 13 seconds behind Jay Shadron. Shadron 1 minute 6 seconds behind Wyatt Wilkin. So you can see those gaps on that last lap of racing as the track kept getting tougher. 1 minute 11, the gap between Fowler and Wilkin. 1 minute 6 back to Shadron. 1 minute 13 back. And that's individually, not the total gap. So things really spreading out in that final lap of racing action.
So standing by, we'll get those post-race interviews underway. We'll get a word in with our winner, Walker Fowler, now 6-time Snowshoe GNCC winner, Walker Fowler. And we'll get a word in with Wyatt Wilkin as well as Jay Shadron about the race here today. So stand by with us while we wait to get those set up. Have we had anyone else check in?
Nope, just those 4 so far, but we are expecting Stephen Harrell, Adam McGill, Hunter Hart all to check in here any moment. And look at this, Adam McGill rounds out your, Stephen Harrell rounds out your top 5. Adam McGill coming across in the 6th place spot, 36 seconds behind Harrell. And Harrell actually had a great last lap there, coming in only 19 seconds behind Josh Merritt, rounding out the top 5. And it sounds like we are getting very close to being ready for an interview with today's winner, King of Snowshoe Mountain.
Oh, with the chain.
Walker Fowler.
Got the drip.
He's got the drip going. He's got the hat on. He's ready to go, and the mustache is barking.
Guys, I'm going to let him say it. Call the governor. Call the president. Where are we right now?
It's Fowler Mountain for another year, baby. Here we go. Tied with Caleb Russell for most wins up here. Lost my voice. Had a hell of a time. And, man, the fans, everybody, you guys were awesome. I went out, I had fun, I rode smooth, and win number 79 in my career. We're creeping towards 80, and just everybody, my freaking sister, my awesome little nephew, Graham, brother-in-law, they're here. It was a good family fun weekend, and it ain't over.
Like this was an emotional win for you. The team was here celebrating. You're talking about kind of refinding the fun. That's exactly what you were doing out there, just having fun. Talk about kind of putting those pieces together and riding. They were saying it on the broadcast, a retro Walker Fowler. Kind of feel like back to your old self a little bit?
Just been chasing some little gremlins, but I knew I wasn't crazy, and I rode the practice bike. I'm like, this is the greatest thing I've ever ridden. I rode the race bike on Monday. I'm like, this is something deadly about this thing that's wrong. Mark's just had a baby himself. Congrats, buddy. And we had a long week, but we made the changes necessary, and that is the best machine I have ever ridden. And thank you for putting up with my crap all the time, buddy. That's a bad unit right there.
Hey, well, it takes a bad man to be able to get the job done. Walker Fowler, your XC1 winner here from Snowshoe. One more time, where are we at, Walker? It's Fowler Mountain, baby. Walker Fowler gets the job done.
Well, there you have it. Zach Heron getting the words from Walker Fowler himself, pointing out, I wasn't going to get into that, but there was a little tension this week. Walker wanted to make some changes, actually keeping the race bike, which is a big no-no in Mark Notman's world, and saying, I want to ride this thing one more time. Let's make some changes. Mark just had a baby. Walker actually telling some of us, his friends, hey, I'm going to wash this thing myself. Mark will re-prep it. He's the man that puts hands on it, but that is not their normal program. Walker sensed something in the machine, said, I'm looking for this feeling. I think I found it, but we need to make this big change and take the complete suspension off of the practice bike, put it on the race bike, and look how it paid off today.
There you go, communication. Those two, the Batman and Robin, if you will, they have been a dynamic duo for many, many years now. I believe Jackson Burrell standing by with our second place finisher, Wyatt Wilkin.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with the number 3, our second place here. Wyatt, some redemption for you here at Snowshoe. Take us through your race day.
Yeah, coming off last race, I was pretty pissed just how the race went. I know I'm capable of winning races now, and just came with that energy here. Super stressed before the race. It's just an odd race, and a lot of anticipation, a lot of nerves, and I knew Howard's Hole was going to be hell when we got down there, and by God, it was hell. I think I saw 2 or 3 four-wheelers flip, and I was 6 in the woods, so that's wild. Came down there, everybody's getting sideways. I came out of there, I think, 3rd. It was Hunter and Steven. We come out of Howard's Hole. Hunter kind of went wide. I think he got into where he's running bigs. He flipped, so I got by him, caught behind Steven, followed him for a while, and he was making little mistakes. And I was like, okay, man, if I just stay here, I've already got him beat by time. We'll just ride here. And he made a bobble, past him, and literally 1 corner later, he passed me back. And next thing I know, Walker Fowler's on the outside just ripping, just wide open. I don't even know where this line came from. Went straight to the front. So then it was Walker, me, Steven. And, yeah, Walker, I don't know if they're over his shoulder or what, but his nuts are still big. Everybody loves that. And, dude, he was ripping. Like, every time I'd get a pit board, he was just pulling and pulling and pulling. I'm like, God darn, dude, I'm throwing everything I got at this thing while trying to keep the bike alive. And, yeah, just a crazy race. Clipped a tree on the second lap, so I'm riding, like, 45 degrees trying to go straight. I come in and tell my dad, and he's like, well, stop hitting trees, dude. And I'm like, dude, the rocks throw you wherever. You're trying to go as fast as you can. And, no, I'm super happy for second. Jay back on the podium. I wanted to share one with him last race, so we'll do it here.
Hey, you got a second place trophy to help give you some motivation over this summer break that we have coming up. How you feel going into summer break?
Yeah, man, I'm ready to just get back to it, kind of reset. As everybody knows, this first half of the year hasn't went the way I wanted. Just, you know, bad luck, bad decisions, and I'm ready to reset. These last 4 rounds are usually my go-to, so we'll be ready to go for the last 4.
He's ready to go into round number 10. That is Wyatt Wilkin, your second place.
Well, there you have it, Mikey. Speaking with Wyatt Wilkin, talking about wanting to share the podium. Well, he told us quite a few stories there,
yes,
but wanting to share the podium with Jay Shadron. Worth pointing out, folks, I'm a broadcaster right now. That's all I am. Kenda podium sweep. First time they've ever done that. So kudos to them and those riders. They've invested a lot into GNCC racing this year, and it pays off for them in a big, big way today with their first ever overall podium sweep, not just in the XC1 class, but the overall Walker Fowler, Wyatt Wilkin, and Jay Shadron. So kudos to not only those riders, but that company as well.
There you go. Good man there, Johnny Gallagher. I like it. Waiting to get that third and final interview. And it looks like we're ready. Hey, mustaches might be the name of the game here. Jackson Burrell standing by with Jay Shadron.
Yeah, guys, I'm here with our third place, Jay Shadron. Jay, how about make it 2 podiums in a row, man? Take us through Snowshoe for you.
Dude, it was wild. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I double clutched it on the start. I don't know what I was doing. Just nervous, I guess. Just filtered in. I think I was forced, dropping down in. Took a stupid line the second we hit the woods. McGill got me, so I was last on the row. We got down in the Howards, and I mean, just talk about chaos, man. It was really gnarly down there this year. My buddies down there, he got me in through. I got sideways, just popped out in front of everybody. I ended up getting hung up, but I popped out so nobody else could go. So we made up a bunch of positions down through there. Then just kind of settled in, was riding behind Bryson for a while. He looked like he was struggling some, trying to find a pace. It looked like he crashed once. Hunter was upside down. We just kept picking guys off and kept moving. It was a crazy day. The other side of the road was super rocky. And, man, I was fatigued the whole time, I'm not going to lie. I was just trying to just get it to the finish line. I couldn't wait for it to be done. But,
Yeah, I don't think we had a clean way through Howard's one time, but it was whatever we went through, we were still the fastest through there every time. So shout out to all my buddies to get me through that. It was awesome.
How's it feel to go into summer break with 2 podiums under your belt now?
All right, couldn't be happier so far.
All right, guys, he's proved he's a podium contender. That's your 3rd place, Jay Shadron.
Well, there you go, guys. Jay Shadron, 3rd place overall, 2nd podium consecutively in the span of 3 weeks. Jay Shad is back. He's making headlights great again in 2025 and also contributing to making GNCC great, as it always is. A big performance from him here today. And, man, what a day of racing, Mikey.
Yeah, this was a throwback, and what better place to have a throwback than the one we're paying tribute to the Blackwater 100. We want to take a look at the Specialized race recap. Bryson Neal trying to stay loose. Man, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but not a good day for Bryson Neal.
No, definitely not what he was looking for today, but starting on the front row, he did get a pretty decent jump, but it was quickest on the trigger, grabbing the early lead, sliding wide. Stephen Harrell making moves early, grabbing that point position. Josh Merritt up there. Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal towards the back, and look at that. Wyatt Wilkin putting the charge in early from row 2, closing up the gap and dragging Chris Bortz with him. This is where the chaos started. Stephen Harrell through, then Hunter Hart gets hung up on this log, and it slows him down just enough that chaos ensues. As they sorted it out, started to work their way through, by the end of lap number 1, it was Walker Fowler out front, and as Wyatt Wilkin said, showing everybody just how big he wanted to win Snowshoe.
He needs a wheelbarrow. Somebody help the man out. The rest of the XC1 class buzzing through pro row right there. But, yeah, man, this was just retro Walker Fowler. Nice, cool transition right there into Wyatt Wilkin.
Yeah, Wyatt Wilkins solid in the number 2 spot throughout the entirety of the day. Those positions remained unchanged. We did see some battles for the number 3 spot, but Jay Shadron really kind of hanging on to it. Wyatt Wilkins sending it through Howard's Hole, and Walker Fowler just hit. I don't know that we saw him put a wheel wrong, and you talked about it, Mikey. When you see Walker Fowler fist bumping and having fun, fist pumping, it's a scary thought for his competitors.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, he's even said it himself, I need to go find fun on an ATV again. Well, he's certainly found that here today. Just all smiles. I mean, you can't see it through the helmet, but you can see it through the helmet. Absolutely one for the history books, and it's so cool to see 79 wins, Johnny. 79 wins. And Walker Fowler looks like he just got his very first one right there with the body language.
That one was special for him because, sometimes the ones that are at least, not to say he didn't expect to win today, but the ones that when you need them the most and they're least expected, those ones are a little bit extra special.
That's it. Well, there you go. Take a look at your top 10. Fowler, Wilkins, Shadron, your top 3. Josh Merritt just off of the box. Stephen Harrell continuing to have success in those top 5s. The Gator, Adam McGill with a 6. Jared McClure, 7th. Braxton Gross, how about it? 8th in the OA, followed by Alex Tiemann, and Bryson Neal somehow pulls off a top 10 finish.
Yeah, shout out to, obviously, Braxton Gross there, your XC2 winner, and just behind him, Alex Tiemann, 2 XC2 riders in the top 10 overall, so shout out to those guys.
Johnny, this is where we do, final thoughts, a big takeaway from today. I got to think it was, we knew Walker Fowler is still capable of fighting for wins, fighting for championships. I'm ready to get summer break over with. I'm not trying to rush the back half of the season or the back few races of the season, but I want to see, was this a one-off throwback for Walker Fowler, or is this what we can expect to see from Walker Fowler?
Only time will tell.
All right, that's fair enough.
If the Walker Fowler that shows up today to race shows up the last 4 rounds, Bryson Neal and everyone else will have their hands full.
Yeah.
But nobody's going to give it up easy. All these guys are they're absolute Spartan warriors, and the conditions today were tough, and the riders that came out on top absolutely just were the best today. So it was my final thought for the day would probably just be what a tough mountain it is, and how much these guys had to throw at it to get it done. Yeah. And we saw Walker Fowler having fun on a 4-wheeler, and it led to win number 79.
It's a scary thing. And then the other thing, I don't think this is panic button right now for Bryson. He's still in the points lead. He still has a 41 comfortable lead.
Actually 42, because he was able to work his way up to 10.
Correct, yes.
So 42 points will be the lead he carries into round number 10.
We talk about momentum. First time off of the box this season, and not just off of the box, 10th.
Yeah.
And we got summer break. He's got a long time to think about that. Is it, hey, I'm going to reset the focus on the wife, focus on the new baby. We'll get back to it when GNCC comes back. I feel like that's the perspective. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but I got to think if you're Bryson, no panic button.
No.
We'll reset over summer break.
41-point lead. He's been the class of the field in 2025. maybe a little chink in the armor today.
Sure.
But that said, he's got near 3 months to regroup, recharge, and come out swinging. And you know that Wyatt Wilkin, Jay Shadron, Josh Merritt, and all of the rest are also saying, hey, we haven't gotten our wins yet in 2025, and we'd like to get one. 4 rounds remaining in 2025. And if they're all as exciting as today, you guys at home are in for quite a show.
It's going to be a good one. Well, that is going to wrap things up for us here today. We've got more coming up on GNCC. Of course, we'll be right back here tomorrow with the pro bike side of things. And then we've got coming up later this month, we've got round number 5 of Bagger Racing League as well as round number 6. And then we'll be heading to the ranch. Loretta Lynn's amateur motocross coming up at the beginning of August. That is going to wrap things up for us here today. On behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Heron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Matt, Leah, Josh, Adam, John, Kirsten, and Mike, the drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, our moto filmer, Brian Risch, our manager, Dan Reinhardt, our official spotter, Mike Holbert, our second engineer, Jack Renner, our engineer in charge, Jordan McFadden, replay operator, Cameron Cotter, our director, Don Hampton, our producer, Adam Gordon, and our executive producer, Miss Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes, and you've been watching GNCC on RacerTV.com.